miser.
Hitting live now. Be good to go.
Alright. Okie dokie, let me use it here. Alright. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 12, or session 12. So, I've been spending way too much time on my own old show. Of Sea of Sorrows. I am your DM Goth Google, and we are joined, of course, by Transpace Mariner as Kyle, the Shifter Rogue. Not as shifty as you think, apparently. Miser Mark is Elliot Talami, our Paladin, and Jeebus the Dingus as Deckham, the Warforged Sorcerer. Last time, the party successfully got rid of Virgil, one of Captain Margulia's crew members, and rescued the Warforged known as Desperado, a unique individual with a unusual build similar to a skeleton and something of a bullfighter. Having found that he has knowledge of where a certain ship is, a gnomish side wheel known as the Unquenchable, the party discovered that he can't actually divulge the information because he is seized up and rusted, and cannot actually give them the map, which is hidden in his chest compartment. The party has determined that they were going to head back to the Hague Lighthouse, where Deckham and Mistress K can hopefully help Desperado with the situation. The party, of course, also is deciding to get out of Dodge, or Paragon City, more likely, than before Jack has a chance to show up again. And that is where we join our group.
She made me shoot myself.
Well, how about we don't shoot a lightning bolt at the weird lady that we don't know that just entered the room?
Oh, yes, but she was terrifying. We all knew she was an enemy combatant.
She had the markings of both fiendish and celestial, a strange, dark abomination. And she clearly had malicious intent for all of us.
And she was smug. Nobody who's smug walking into a room is ever trustworthy.
I mean, yeah.
Filled with bodies and blood. I did.
I was under the impression that she might have been working for Margula in some way or another.
And that's why I tried to shoot her.
Well, if Deckham hadn't, I would certainly have tried, if I wasn't mostly unconscious.
You know, I fear one of us is
He
gonna...
puts a hand on your shoulder. You're out of spells.
I feel like one of you two is probably gonna die from just doing something like that. Just
Oh, most likely.
Well,
I
at least
suspect
if you
it
die,
might
still
be
have the
me.
knife, so then at least someone will be
Oh, if I
fine.
die, just return my head to Kane and she can rebuild me. I'm sure of it.
Does it really work like that?
Yes. Worked last time.
But would
Are
you
you-
still be the same, Deckham?
I don't know. Well, she does seem to know the same programming language, so if it was the same person who rebuilt me, most likely.
I'll go over to Desperado. This is accurate, since you are both of similar kind. Would you know if such thing can be done without losing the identity of oneself?
Yeah, so long as he doesn't still in place, yes, I believe it so, Senor.
Ah.
I guess the way to put it would be, so long as the brain, see?
So we need to make sure that Deckham's head does not take any severe head injuries.
If that is where he stores it.
Alright, so no blunt force trauma for Deckham.
Deckham tries to think of where his CPU is. He doesn't know.
Oh no.
I had a brother. He was stored in his codpiece.
Why?
For bounce reasons. He was a dancer. See?
Ah.
This raises even more questions.
Well, I mean, you're not going to kick a Warforged in the junk. It'll do nothing, so why not store it in a safer area?
These games.
Everybody always goes for the head.
God.
So where is... Oh, considering we are about to head back.
Hey, good girl.
Oh, yeah.
Your dice are done.
Thank you. Well, Energia will take them. Well, at least that situates some stuff for in case we run into any weird people, and she's kind of tossing them in her hand, in the air. Also, I'd like to point out, should we really be worried about the knife that I have? Because it seems to be doing more good than harm. And everyone just keeps thinking it's a
I
threat.
just think you're lucky.
No, I'm not a halfling, sadly.
I suspect that...
What?
That was a gift. And you know that... Well, do you never hear the old saying that halflings are usually the most lucky people in the world? Usually.
Besides their thieving luck, yes, I've heard the phrase before. But again, returning to the topic of the knife, I'm just worried that with all the good luck that you have rolling your way with that knife, there's bound to be some sort of price to pay, even though, for all senses and purposes, through both mine and Deckham's means, that knife seems to be oddly ordinary, which, considering what it has done, makes me think otherwise.
Just be an ordinary knife that just happens to have weird properties.
Oh, I understand now. It may seem ordinary, but this plane has inhabited itself in that knife.
Ah. So it's not the knife itself, but the world or this place that makes it extraordinary.
Yes.
That would make sense.
I mean, it's a nut.
Yes, your knife is rudely shaped and just an ordinary weapon, tool.
But since we're surrounded by so much evil, we can't sense out the slight evil in it.
How are you even sure it's evil?
It's quite bloodthirsty.
It has not killed... Wait, hold on, let me immediately think for a second. It has not killed us yet, so it's not super bloodthirsty.
Because there were more suitable targets around it.
Oh, just you wait.
I'm aware.
Now. That's why I laughed. I saw it pop up above Kyle.
Nah, it's just a regular knife with some rust on it. You just gotta buff that out with some WD-40.
So, shall we begin to make our way?
Agreed.
If I can
worst
buff
knife
that image Google.
It's perfect.
Before you guys go see that, Senorita, I cannot really point. So if you look where I am looking, there under the thing, you will find a small box.
Okay. Deckham bends down. Looks for
pointing
box.
over here.
Oh. Elliot, you're closest.
Right. I will go to it. Well, he's also commenting you are coming along with us, though. For Lady K's, Is it considered reforging, or...?
We called it general maintenance back in the days. I do
Yes,
not
that's
know
what I was
if
about to say. It's just more like maintenance. I don't believe he's had a Warforged technician in 3-4 years.
I suspect it might be
It
longer.
has been considerably longer than that.
Then you keep very well shape of yourself, and he slaps him on the shoulder.
God.
You do that, you realize you just get, like, you thought he was, like, was stuck, you know, with rust, and, like, they're decent give. No, it's just wonk.
Ugh.
So,
Oh dear.
So what does
I
Ellie
hope you like the torch.
Why does it sound worse than it should?
Because Deckham hates it.
He
Okay, that
might.
makes
He
sense.
just might, considering how dangerously he's lived. So anyway, what does Elliot find?
Sorry, there was a bunch of yelling going on outside my door.
No problem.
Hold on, I'll yell louder. It'll make it go away.
No. He looks at you. That is a bit of savings. Since I am certain there is not much else to be done, there should be about 1,500 gold in there, senor?
1800?
1,500.
1500.
It is as much as I can keep. The rest of it is rent, of course. So, thanks.
Alright. You'll give the, you'll pass it to Deckham. I believe you best to know how to handle this. Since that is his savings.
Is it because I'm a computer and I'm better at math than you are?
No.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's just, I feel slight. Wow. Motors. Always around this time they go crazy. I just believe it's, well, I'm a little uneasy of taking someone's savings, even if it is their reward for us
No,
helping
this
them.
is payment for maintenance.
Ah. I did not think of it that way.
Also, you know, saving his life.
True. Right, so I guess we'll be dividing it 3 ways, 500 for us each.
That was what I was hoping for.
Let me just get rid of that one, because I thought I was carrying it at all.
And I am certain that my friends out there will give you a discount.
Well, I hope they are able to survive what's about to come if we come back.
Were we not going to come back to...
About that moment, you hear like a clattering sound. Gnarly,
What?
it's the grenades! The grenades!
I knew there was a gnome here.
I thought there were 2? 3?
That was a joke, because I gave you guys a gnomish grenade.
No, this is just Elliot being Elliot. Like, I thought there were maybe 3 gnomes in there.
In fact, as Kyle, as you can look out, you see that they are like running across things. There's
Yeah.
metal like shutter, like heavy metal shutters being shut over like the windows.
No, I think they'll be fine. Probably.
The real question is, well, not really a question, but when we do come back, it's mostly just to return Desperado to, well, I guess his family here.
We should be able to. I think I won't mind him eventually coming back.
I paid the rent for 3 months out. I mean,
Oh, then we're definitely fine.
Ah,
Well, let's hope your landlord gets murdered. Come on, everyone!
but Ken is no senior. Ken is a crazy man.
Oh, never mind.
I hope he gets slightly maimed, but is still able to walk and...
I don't
You
think
realize
this...
that this man who just saved you, who just made your dice, yes?
I hope he lives a long and healthy life and nothing bad happens to him.
Elliot just has his look of like...
I'm great at this.
Elliot just has his look of disbelief of what words these guys are choosing. And he just asks,
I assumed the landlord didn't live here.
Don't most landlords live in their own homes?
I do not know.
That's where I'm from. Usually they own their own home and whatever apartment complex they stay. Whatever.
I mean,
Anyway. Go ahead.
Bless their fucking party.
I mean, it would also make sense that they are close knit if he allowed Desperado go 3 months. Or at least, what, you said 3 months without pay, or did you make a down pay? I didn't quite pick that up.
Oh, I pay ahead of time. It is best to pay year, you know? I mean, not much happens.
Understandable.
Yes, Elliot, why don't you hand me Mr. Desperado? If we do get ambushed, you need both your hands, and I tend to only need at least one.
Understood.
Elliot, it being said, there was kind of like a creeping in the back of your head when Desperado had mentioned it. It takes you a few minutes. And yes, you suddenly do remember a bit of news about a gnomish side wheel that had, quote-unquote, landed on Earth and then been reconstructed as the Unquenchable, and that it had gone missing shortly after leaving the planet, after it was attacked by pirates.
A gnomish scythe?
Side wheel.
Side wheel. There we go. I was like, my brain was not catching up. Okay.
The gnomes built a legendary site.
Just
A gnomish side wheel spellcammer.
In Arth, okay. And I will relate this to the group as we're going. It's like, huh. Speaking of gnomish, I vaguely recall some high news in the city of Greyhawk about a gnomish side wheeler back in the world that I'm from before it was absconded by pirates. But the news was brief due to the exotic eccentricity of the giant wheel device thing. Were those actually the hamsters? As Elliot's trying to think of what the heck could power up that kind of device.
Yes, the giant space hamsters.
The hamsters I'm familiar with are no bigger than a hand, like my hand, or no, even Kyle's hand, actually.
Yes, they are, what is the term, senor, bred to be giants, as I understand. I did not actually get to witness them, as my encounter with the Unquenchable was that I was on board a elvish ship that we found alongside it before we, what was the term, broke over the event horizon of a dark space. As far as I am aware, senor, I am the only survivor. That is, terrible.
Well, I apologize for you losing your friends, sir.
I lost a band. A family.
My condolences.
I know that all too well. You can only delete so many memories.
Wait, you can delete memories?
Oh, yes,
I remember
I can do that for you. It's more like writing over, but it works sometimes.
Actually, that is kind of the problem. That is the actual curiosity of it all. And normally, I do not remember being able to erase things, but how does the mortal say it? Senor,
Drink.
No, they go through something traumatic and they forget things.
Oh,
That
post-traumatic.
never happened. See, it sounds right, but
You're referring to Amisha.
I don't remember after the event which it was here, and then I remember crawling through things, and skirting the breach.
Ah, yes, stressed hard drive syndrome. I know it all too well.
I fucking hate you.
God, do I hate New York sometimes.
But I have this map, and that is, how do you say, should be enough, yeah?
Let's hope. As Elliot's gonna be looking around to make sure we're not being pursued or chased or stalked.
As you get closer down towards the docks, will somebody roll me a D100, please?
I got it. $83.
Jeez, you're so close to mine.
You come around a corner, and today and today only we got the finest wares in all of the lands. Come on and step right up and see what we got for sale here today. We got knickknacks, we got thingamajigs, we got all sorts of fancy things that you need to buy.
Oh god, I'm having PTSD, Moogle.
You're welcome.
Ooh, maybe he has a 10mm socket.
Did I hear a 10mm socket?
What does this
He's
individual look like?
As you come around the corner, you see a gentleman.
I
Blonde
know.
hair, little mustache that's curled at the ends, wearing a flat, it's like a top hat that's been flattened. A red and white striped shirt with red suspenders and high-waisted bluish colored pants. And he's got a rattan cane.
I believe we found Alistair.
Elliot's just gonna look over to Desperado and just ask, do you know who this individual is? Or heard about him?
No. I don't leave the shop very often.
I was thinking that maybe your comrades and friends would may have mentioned certain names or vent out complaints of such individuals that might match the description of the one here.
Honestly, I have not heard much about him. There are a lot of people here that, we have further work with, such as the gentleman over in the rich part of town. He sells magic items for way too much.
I'm almost curious to see what this person is selling just to destroy the market.
Wait. Yeah, what?
I mean, it's like a tent rolled out of a weird wagon, and a bit of a pop-up. It's all bright. It stands out so weirdly here. And because it's clean, mostly because it's clean and it's dry. But you see necklaces, you see bottles with different labels on them, like Marvelous Miracle Cure, you see knives, you see knife sets, everything from daggers to cooking knives, you see a rack of swords, you see spears. It's a little bit of everything, even pots and pans and...
Huh.
Would one say enough pots and pans to create a chef's kit?
You actually see that there is a chef's kit on sale.
Ooh. How much for this, good sir?
Ah, a discerning eye from a gentleman who's made of metal himself. Let's see here. Let's see what our tag has today.
I don't have eyes.
Well, that's kind of a problem. I have some eyes over here if you'd like some.
No. My sensors work perfectly, thank you.
Good enough. But deal still stands. I don't know how much chef kit costs.
I think it's like 5 copper.
And before, way more.
I know they're stupid cheap.
There's a cook set? Is that what it is?
I think.
I
So,
thought it was
yeah.
like a chef set.
Uh,
Cook's utensils, that's what it is.
Let's see, today only? I think I could let this one go for 7 cut silver, sir.
Throw in a tin of coffee and black tea and you have yourself a deal, sir.
No, the coffee actually would add on a whole nother gold.
Wait,
Finest
really?
prime grown stuff from a land you never even heard of, Sonny.
Cry me.
Brazil.
Must be some sort of strange animal. You have yourself a deal, sir.
Fucking God.
Fuck, he got me.
Never return customer. Well, yeah.
Never return customer. They all die.
Never an unsatisfied customer.
A never unsatisfied customer. Trust me. No returns, no refunds.
Damn Brazil.
Elliot just takes a look around, but let's see, how much does he have right now, considering what he's got? No, it wouldn't be enough. What about the armor or gear that they have? Since
Just to point this out, it's on like a clothes rack, not a not like armor stands necessarily. It's weird.
that's
Oh,
alright.
so it's like the gap of armor.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine.
Son and gentlemen like yourself must have some tastes. Let's see, tall, dark, and handsome with fangs. Let's see here. We got this little ditty in black. Oh, if you're looking for something for the bedroom, because he holds out a black chainmail bikini.
Elliot just visibly just pinches the bridge of his nose. A simple dark suit for a meeting, business meeting, perhaps.
Ooh, do you have pinstripes?
I do. As he pulls out a measuring tape. Let's get some measurements on you, Sonny.
Deckham's standing next to you in his polar vest.
Oh my fucking God.
Considering that we might need to go visit a certain place in the later future.
Yes, Miss Cat, would you prefer a dress or a suit? I'm not really know your tastes, but we should have some fancier clothing for the two of you.
Perhaps some shoes so you don't step on things that don't agree with your feet.
Mhm. Let me roll the thing.
Deck was courteous. You didn't know what you preferred.
And then, no, that's not the point.
Yeah, Elliot has
The
the
rich
shoes.
people. She just... Not even the shoes. No, I really don't want any fancy clothes, if that's alright.
Yeah, sure, Lassie?
Yeah, fine.
I got the finest silks you ever see.
No, I'm good, thank you.
Well then, sir. Looking for a straight-up number or something more fancy? What kind of style you looking for?
A straight up number will be fine.
Something modern or something a little archaic?
What'll be the
He
difference?
kind of moves, and you can see, like, he has, like, a literal, like, red tie, black tie number.
He'll lean a little bit toward Deckham and whisper, "What's the difference between modern and archaic?"
How frilly do you want it?
Not really.
More modern, then.
He looks over to the gentleman. I forgot to introduce myself for names. I am Elliot Ptolemy, also. I should go more with modern. I'm not exactly a fan of frills.
Oh, I understand. There's just a lot of people who view modern stuff as being a little too interesting, a little too edgy. By the way, Barnaby Jones, salesman extraordinaire.
Oh, it's so good. I hate it.
Oh,
No,
Mr.
I hate that
It's a pleasure to meet you.
I hate that I know who the fuck this is. I hate it. This fucker already. I hate you, Google.
Sir, I can only assume that you're not from town.
Nope. I get around, they say.
Are you the rumored Vistani?
No, but I've traveled with them folk, fine folk. Except for when they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Gotta be careful around them with vampires. Sometimes they like to... Well, not everybody works for everybody's best interests. But they're great customers. And they're stylish. Like, take this number, for example. This would look real fine on you. Not too modern, not too old. Just enough here of the poetry to really bring out your eyes.
I hate when they said take this number. I imagine him holding up an actual fucking number.
I just thought he
pulls up
held
like
a Buck Yells vest.
Yeah, he pulls up like a beautiful, like, black crushed velvet, like, Vistani coat and pants and shirt with like a poet shirt.
Man, it's funny, they only got a +1 to his modifier.
The purple embroidery really helps bring out the eyes.
You know, his eyes are mostly brown, or at least a bright brown, but very well. You'll look over to Deckham and then to Kyle. So, opinions? Advice?
Get it fitted.
What he said.
Kind of swore off fashion for a while, so I got nothing on clothes, man.
That's fine. Right, I guess we're gonna refit it then.
How with this for 15 gold?
Does that include a free refitting then?
Well, unless you're intending to put on 3D pounds, I'd probably be perfectly fine for a while. But weirdly, this one is exactly your size.
Let me insight that, because I should really know his exact size.
He measured you.
That's true. That is true. No, I'm just hoping it's not, he's telling me a size less or more.
Go ahead.
Actually, no. I'm gonna also go with, let me get an extra tie with that.
Well, I'll throw in the tie on top since you're good customers.
Very well. Deal. I'll give him the 15 gold. So, let's see. So it's a suit with 2 ties?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Probably give me the details later, since...
The easiest point is the Vistani themed suit.
So the colors are mostly, hopefully, a darker tone, since that's basically...
Yeah, they're mostly blacks and whites.
Okay.
There's just like a hint of purple and silver to it. You know, it definitely puts off that Vistani personality, but it's still got like a conservative nobility to it.
Okay. Right. In the event that we'll have to make a meeting at the harbor again. Might as well be somewhat presentable. If we're doing such a venue again.
Do you have an item that makes it look like I'm wearing something presentable, but I really don't have to? Just for the sake of it at this point. Still looking short.
Well, I do happen to have one of these. As he pulls up a hat off of the things. I believe they like to call them hatted disguise around these times. Put it on the other two things. On the other hand, he just kind of spins around and you see him pick up this weirdly very plain white dress. This is a blank that allows you to put other clothes onto it. We call it shift weave.
We'll probably take that.
Or on the other hand, I got this thing. He pulls off a cloak. Or I got that over there. As he points over at a suit of leather, a set of leather armor. Once you get into that, you can make it look like just about anything.
Is it, for player perspective, is it glamour, just leather armor?
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably
Leather, studded leather.
Let me make sure what I have. I think I could use a plus to my AC, so I'll take the studded leather then.
Righty. Oh, let's see.
Do you have anything for those with innate arcane abilities?
No, I got plenty of stuff of that kind. What are you looking for? Armor, clothing, wands, staves, amulets, gems.
No.
Yeah,
Which kind of
arcane
wands do you
focus.
have? Something that could bolster my magical abilities.
Yeah, let me see here. What kind of thing you trying to do?
I tend to deal with more lightning and charm-based effects, so anything in that general area.
Well, I got this wand and a lightning bolt. Did you see him pull a barrel over?
That's a barrel.
It's full of wands.
Oh.
like when you see like those barrels that like have like you know candy straws or whatever in them, like it's like that with wands.
Oh my god.
Isn't that not hazardous to have them all in one location like that?
Only if you don't know how to handle them correctly. Or you put, I'll be somebody put one of them in here. I thought that would have blown us all to hell. And he pulls one out and he just chucks it over his shoulder into the back of the wagon.
Kyle's just like looking at this guy. We
Can't have the kids touching that thing, can we?
I
mean, I'm off,
do you have a wand of hypnotic pattern?
Yes, I got one right here. As he stops for a moment and looks through and he pulls out this weird pearlescent white wand.
Alright, and how much would you part with that for?
What level spell is,
Third.
Third, okay.
Probably more than I have.
Probably. I just gotta check.
I mean, Ellie's always willing to help, so.
I need to see how much my studded leather armor is then, and I'll see if I can give you some extra money.
Yeah, I'll have that just a minute. I gotta.
Yep, no worries.
Yeah, no worries. We all know this GM game. Like, oh fuck.
All right, time
The
to
one thing I didn't prepare
shopping
for.
time.
So I have this, this spreadsheet that I use. I just have to figure out where said spreadsheet is.
Well, while you do that, I have to go feed the dogs real quick, so I'll be back.
Sure thing.
Alrighty.
And it's ironic. I have a spreadsheet for a few other things, but not for market or sell things.
Same. Well, I don't have a spreadsheet, but I have notes of like what. Looks at the Ben meanwhile looks at my notes for the Bazaar. Never mind, I have a fucking spreadsheet for that. We don't talk about that though.
Elliot will also add, because he did took interest on the shift weave, and also thinking of, well, worst case scenario that any meetings, like he's thinking about it, so it's mostly just him rubbing his chin. But I guess if Kyle still has the mental thingamajig on.
I do not.
Okay. But he's just thinking in his head is like, right, worst case scenario that we have a re-meeting with Lord Grey and it goes bad, it would be a terrible situation to not be in armor or have it available.
What kind of armor do you wear?
He wears chainmail.
Oh. Maybe we
Which,
could upgrade that to a breastplate. Breastplates are usually determined to be common attire. At least where I'm from.
I was thinking of,
Kyle,
Yeah.
the Lambert started leather will be 1,000 gold.
Haha. No.
how much do you have?
Oh, give it a minute. If we can afford mine, I'll chip in.
Yeah.
Because I really don't think we're going to be able to afford that wand.
I have 700, so I'm close, but
Yeah, I think we all have 700.
Just gotta get down here to wands. Oh wait, sell scrolls, okay.
And if we can afford it, I'm going to see how much a wand of identify is, just so you can find it.
Hmm?
If we can't afford the wand of, Drowned Pattern, I'm going to see how much a wand of identify would be.
Let's see here. That's not bad, that's an expensive one.
I hate that as soon as I heard the voice, I knew exactly who this fucker was.
Guessing you met him in the other game.
Yeah. And our party didn't want to talk to him, and I was the only one that did. It was fucking weird.
Very different party, this one.
He must be jumping with joy.
No, fucking, he threatened Ryder.
I wonder why.
Well, let me see here, Sonny. If I'm going correctly, the wands, well, that would be about 3,000 gold. Which I'm going to say, you're probably a little light on that.
Yes, I am. But what about something maybe quite a bit lesser? Something just like identify. A
Oh.
very useful spell, but unfortunately it's not in my repertoire.
Let me see here. That would be about 200 gold.
Absolutely, I can do that. And
Well, it
just
has 2
kinda-
charges per day, but, you know.
No, that's fine. I don't think we should be identifying more than that.
She kind of looks at you.
I believe your armor is a bit more expensive than you have, but I can offer you the remainder.
Sure. So I have 774. If you want to give me 300, I'll throw out.
Yeah, I'll just give you 300.
Okay, yeah.
So 3, that's 2. So back to what I was at.
I am in the hole a lot. It's just studded leather, Mogul. Oh wait,
It's studded
glamour
leather
studded.
plus 1 with leather. So yeah, you should be able to pull that from the compendium if you want.
So studded leather armor plus 1, or just regular?
If you actually go to the compendium and type in glamour, it'll.
Oh yeah, I see it. Yeah, I got it. Warning: AC is not correct. Unequipped shield. They're from item detail. Okay, let me.
You have to then equip your other armor.
Yeah, I got it.
Ah, that's nice.
That's what happens when you buy all the books.
don't suppose you're something like breastplate, as my friend here suggested, or perhaps even splint.
Oh, of course I do. Right over here, sir. You guys want to roll me an insight real quick?
Sure.
Absolutely. Give me 2 seconds to drag and drop this fucking spell into my sheet.
Oh, don't worry, I'm great at these. I haven't rolled yet today, so I'm sure to fail. That's a 10.
Oh, 11.
Weirdly, Tushy Elliott, you notice that nobody seems to be noticing that he's here. Like, with all the noise and all that, everybody's just passing by like it doesn't. It's like, you know, it's a barrel on the side of the road. Nobody cares.
I'm curious, Mr. Barnaby, but why is it that only we are able to interact with you and the rest of these people are not interested in your wares, despite how exotic looking they are and practical?
Well, adventurers tend to have a lot more money, so I spend a lot more time on them.
Wait, repeat that one more time for me for the player? The player didn't catch that.
Adventurers spend a lot more money, so we spend a lot more time for them.
So you're an exclusive merchant.
No, just a matter of fact that a bunch of adventurers with some money to spend came by. No reason wasting my time on a few extra coin here and there, right?
How often do you get adventurers?
Often enough to be able to afford all this.
Kyle, to put it in perspective, I believe you spent about 10 years worth of an actual salary on that armor.
And yes, he has breastplates, splint mail. It looks, you know, you see like signs above certain racks that say, you know, enchanted, not enchanted. You see one in the back that says dragon scale. And specialty.
Curious now, considering that my friend Kyle had just mentioned about the, well, you mentioned about the shift weave. How exactly does that thing work?
Oh, it's a minor enchantment done into the weave itself. So you add in about 5 articles of clothing, and you can switch between them at will. Also cleans them while they're not worn.
So is it possible to use a shift weave for my suits that I have just acquired, along with the splint armor?
Not the armor. That's a bit too heavy for it for some reason. But the clothing, yes.
I was thinking about it more. Is it possible to make the shift weave to hold the armor, or is that still impossible?
Well, with the problem with it is, it's... I'm actually not entirely sure. I would have to talk to my supplier about that, but that's going to be a...
Yes, the only reason why I inquire about this is that it would be most advantageous if I were to go to a gathering in a fine attire, but let's just say, hypothetically, there was an assault or an ambush, an attack, and I don't have my best armor on to keep my, well, hide safe.
Well, I'm sure a fine adventurer like yourself will eventually be able to afford a piece of ceremonial piece, such as these over here. And you see some of the most gaudy, frilled, armor that's got gold and silver and, eagles and...
Elliot actually makes a no.
Oh yes, the American armor.
I need something a bit more on the practical side. Well, will the shift weave handle my current chainmail then?
No, I'm afraid not. It's the amount of metal, I understand. It's a weight function.
Interesting.
Most clothes only weigh, a few pounds. Start adding a piece of chainmail that weighs, 50 pounds. That's where it gets to be a problem and starts tearing.
Thank you for your information. I suspect we will be meeting again later on if the fates allow it.
Oh, of course. Always find time to be around people who got money.
Elliot just gives a slight nod and makes his way back to the others.
Well, it was fantastic meeting you, sir. Stay safe in this town. There's a murder on the loose.
Oh, that's all the time. It's a city, after all.
Well,
See? 3 blocks over, somebody just got stabbed.
Sorry.
Elliot looks over to that direction.
The fact was, you wasn't surprised about it.
Well, considering we've been hearing about a supernatural murderer coming about, I believe its name, or it calls itself Bloody Jack.
Oh, right, I read the tabloids. All rage. I hear the police chief's really trying to keep it under wraps.
Well, considering you've been helpful with some of your merchandise, perhaps a heads-up warning so you're not caught flat-footed.
Oh, Bloody Jack wouldn't attempt anything on me. Not to mention I'll be out of here before he starts, so not a problem.
Speaking of...
But you worry about yourselves. Have you ever customers and investment? Return customers, a happy customer.
Right. I think it's best we start get going before we end up getting caught by whatever Jack's plans are. Thank you again, Mr. Barnaby.
Not a problem. Say, Misty, you want that knife sharpened? Looks like it's a bit dull.
I mean, it does fine. It's just a regular knife, so.
The dull knife's a dangerous knife.
You know what? How much will it cost?
5 copper.
You know what? Fuck it. Why not? Do I have to roll anything to hand it to him?
You have to roll to pull it out.
Give me a minute to get my sleight of hand to get myself stabbed. Oh my god.
That's a low roll.
Yep.
I know.
But you pull it out. He takes it from you. Oh, that's an interesting blade you got there.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, it's dull as heck. Would have figured a classy lass like yourself would have had something finer. Like those ones over there. Because he points at a rack of very, there's everything from, if you could imagine it being a knife or a dagger, it's there.
Yeah.
Everything from like solid silvers to
Yeah.
ritual daggers, and some of them are like.
Wait, why does he have ritual dagger?
He sells to
Actually,
everybody.
never mind. I know why, but like, why?
Elliot's just gonna add, you say that blade is dull, and yet it is... Deckham, you were more witness to this blade's strange circumstances, but I believe Kyle managed to stab the head of a were-rat through it.
Yeah, that's an impressive feat with something like this. As you watch, as he just very deftly, walked over to his wagon and hit a thing, and a grindstone falls out, and he starts working on it and just humming while he's running it back and forth.
Oh my god.
Elliot takes another few steps away.
He seems to be handling it perfectly well.
I'm terrified for that thing to become actually sharp.
I mean, what's really the worst that could happen with it?
That is
Death
somehow
and dismemberment of thousands.
probably dismembering a whole bunch of the merchandise here, and we end up racking a debt.
Well, here you go, lassie.
take the knife.
And it's been kind of polished up.
Okay, but it's still like got that nice rusty sheen on it.
It's got a patina.
I don't know what that means, but sure.
It means yes.
Thank you. Mariner's dumb.
Christine, there we go.
Now the knife can be used for violence.
As long as we're far enough from it that we're not caught in the range.
You take care of that thing. Somebody put a lot of time and effort into making that knife.
It looks like someone literally just grafted a bunch of knives together. Are you sure there was effort?
I don't know. But it's nice, doesn't it?
Considering it also was cutting a man's hand when he was trying to use it to cut potatoes with it.
Yeah. Effort seems like the wrong word to use for what was put into the knife, but we'll roll with it.
Sorry, everyone, I got a bloody nose.
Man, I can't say anything about the competency of a man who cuts himself, but it was awfully dull.
That actually makes me wonder how the fuck he cut himself then.
That's a good question.
I suspect that blade
Anyway.
hungers for blood.
I imagine he's trying to leave and we're just like talking in front like
Nope, he's actually like sitting there and he's kind of like moved over something. He's just sitting there with like his hands under his chin and like his elbows propping him up, kind of thing.
Here's a weird question. Does brain's being dumb, give me a minute. Characters. Oh shit, do we not have his characters? Oh, never. Yeah, we don't. Trying to think of the Warforged. The Warforged names slipping my mind.
Desperado?
Yes, thank you. Does Desperado see who we're interacting with, or is he looking at us weird as we're kind of like talking to air?
No, he's fully aware.
Okay. Because I was under the implication I didn't know if there was some like weird magic afoot. Especially with everything else.
There you go.
Thank you. God, I love that fucking image. But yeah, I guess I'll take my now ordinarily crappy knife that's been sharpened. Put it in my bag.
It just feels strange seeing Desperado as a player, player's side of things.
He's from Brazil, that's why.
Well, you folks probably ought to hurry on along. Rain's a-coming.
Thank you. And we are Elliot begins to help Desperado.
Yeah, I guess we'll start making our way. I was gonna say downtown, but we're already in downtown near the docks.
Alrighty. You guys get back towards the docks.
Goodbye.
God damn it!
Take care. As you guys get back towards the docks and, out to the waterfront, you notice a certain white dragonborn who is now sparring off against his mark on the deck of the submarine that you guys have been coming in on.
Wait. When did they get here?
I don't remember. They must have just shown up. Hello, Ismark.
I'm surprised you managed to make it here.
We've
last
been
week.
in the sub since...
Oh wait, they have, because they came with us to the island of the dead.
Even Zan's like stops and like looks at you like, what?
I see.
I as a player completely forgot that they still came with us. For some reason, I was under the impression they went back once we hit the island of the dead.
Yeah, for some reason I thought they turned around too, but I guess they didn't. Whoopsies.
No, I
Both player, same thing. Both player and Elliot just forgot they were there.
They haven't interacted in like 3 sessions. Like, oh, they're dead now. It's okay.
No, I just thought they went back to.
Callisti? Yeah, so did I.
I was thinking of the harbor, which right now the name escapes my mind, but
Bell's Harbor?
yeah, there we go. Bell's Harbor. Oh, why was I going to call it Peach Harbor?
They went with you to Gallows hanging graveyard, and you all got on the boat, and then you went to
Yeah.
And we completely forgot they existed.
This is
Isle of Cicero. They've been on the ship helping out.
yeah. This is just us players forgetting.
Nah, they're fine. They've just been chilling. We just completely forgot of their existence.
Yeah. Right. We have a new passenger, and I believe we more or less know where to go get the thing that Captain Gallows is looking for.
Oh, right. I guess that's... Is he... He goes over, somebody? Marna? Syndra?
What are you confused about? He's Warforged.
Well, I meant, there's a ladder here.
Right.
Then you watch as Amarna kind of comes up. What is it, Ismark? They got,
That's
we're
where
gonna get that on the ladder. I guess we should also get, the cat on the horn.
Right. We do have some pressing questions to ask Callisti as well.
Oh. Well, either way, as you watch, Zan kind of jumps back as this large hatch begins opening up in the top of the submarine. Oop, good thing I can see again. Alrighty, so yeah, you watch as they load him, or bring him down into the storage deck, basically, and you guys loading up. You see Syndra comes out from the, her cabin. Radio, would you get the cat on the line? As you watch this guy that you've come to see is like, he's always got like this weird hat on that goes over his ears. And, right. And after a few moments, he just reaches up, Captain, he watches, he unplugs it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Zool's Knocking Hour. Today we have a special guest for you. This is my friend. Ooh, and I have taught him how to play a tiny xylophone.
I would love to hear it. Hello.
And then all of a
No.
sudden, okay, it's our time. Go. What do you mean you don't? What do you mean you have stage fright? We talked about this. You discussed. And you hear the radio go off, and suddenly Sid walks over, hits his button. Zool, would you please put Callisti on the line? Over. And you hear it come back. But it's my radio show time.
Oh my god!
Zool. Okay. Zool.
I can't believe Zool has a radio show in the near future.
We're gonna have a good laugh at that one.
I'm gonna
Worst part-
fucking hate it.
The worst part is there's only like 3 people who could listen to it because only 3 people have radios.
Yeah, I know. You're assuming Dordoba doesn't have advancement with some kind of radio.
It will when he gets back. Okay. Just a minute. And then you hear it comes back on the line. Yeah, I'm here. Where did you get a tiny xylophone? I bought it from Vasily. Why did... you know what? We'll talk about this later. But... okay, Sandra, what's going on? Over. Sin looks at all you. Would you like to tell her?
That can,
Yes. Please, notify Mistress K that she's got a new, Warforged to work on. He seems to be having major issues in all of his limbs.
Oh, right. The thing we talked about on. Right, the ascending. It's been a complicated 20 minutes. But I will tell her. Are you all headed back? Or am I supposed to teleport there again? I can't.
I look at Syndra.
I mean, I do have the teleportation symbol, so she could bring Kay here. But I did hear there's an interesting rumor about a serial killer back on the loose.
Yes. We should leave.
yes, I agree. Since looks over to Syndragalis. Once Desperado is repaired, could we ask that we come back to this place to drop him off?
You hear from down the hall. I would really like that, Senorita. But also, if the map is what I remember, you probably have to come back this way anyway. So it's no inconvenience.
It's a
So just
trade-off.
kinda, yeah, that's about the reality. So yes, I don't imagine we wouldn't. I mean, nope. All right, Christy, we're coming in. I'll get the deck ready. Doc. Deck.
You're right.
Oh, no.
Over. Right.
Well, that thankfully went simple.
And what as Syndra reaches over to thing. Secure all hatches. We're going out. And
Oh, I love this plot. Deckard starts running around the ship, helping everyone.
Ellie will move out of the way and help
Kyle's
Oli.
just going down back to the hammock area just to lay down because she's not dealing with that bullshit.
Ellie will be on standby to help out if need be, but he highly doubts his abilities are really needed.
Okay. Was there anything you guys wanted to talk to anyone on the crew about?
I'm kind of waiting until we get back because I have more information for that off the top of my head.
Just some
All right.
general chit chat, but nothing game consuming, lore breaking kind of mindset. He'll just help out with the ship when he can, and that's it.
Deckard would like to have a probably relatively quick conversation with Syndra.
Okay. Yeah, you can pretty much find her.
Miss Gallows, if you have some time, I would like to inquire you about something.
Okay.
Well, I've noticed most of the magicians around here seem to, just like yourself, use a tome, and I don't really need to do that. And I was wondering if there's anybody who could teach me how to properly use what I can do. I'm unfortunately very unskilled in magic.
You're right. You're not singing, right?
No.
You're not touching trees excessively,
No.
and you didn't make a deal with anyone.
No, I seem to have what we thought was a battery issue, but I can channel that into different magical energies.
I see. Well, that is an interesting concept. So, in that case, then yes, we could potentially. I mean, magic is magic. I could teach you how to do it. It's, well, the focusing part. The rest of it, if I'm understanding correctly, granted, I don't really know much about Warforged beyond the basics. You're innate. I mean, most other beings, when they have that, it's something with their blood, or the family, or their lineage. I myself have some of those powers. She kind of flexes and shows her neck.
So maybe you were one of the best. Miss Callisto seemed to be much too into her bookwork to try to aid me at the points. But I don't even know what I'm really asking for, just a proper teacher at this point. Mistress K is also a wizard. Actually, more like a mechanical wizard. Artificer, I believe it's called.
Yes, that would make sense. In your case, let's see.
Be right back, everyone.
How do you... What do you usually do when you want to, well, whatever it is you do, I haven't really witnessed it.
Well, depending on the situation, most likely I try to end things without violence, so I'll use different radio waves to inhibit their mental capacities, usually severing off several synapses in their brain. Other hands, I channel the power of my battery to either create thunderous booms or direct lightning.
The whole basis behind magic, if you're not just some kind of weird, clanky tin man, which I don't think so, considering the amount of energy pouring out of you is not necessarily just mechanical. Undoubtedly, you can tell this ship has been modified. A lot of arcane energy running through it. In fact, I've had most of the exterior of it lined with bones. But it's all about will. She kind of steps behind you. Her hand runs down your arm to your hand. And kind of lifts, picks it up by the wrist a little bit to aim. It's all about pushing your will on reality.
And you see, that's a new concept for me. That's only come into play quite recently. And I'm not sure how to deal with it.
Well, in a weird way, you're actually probably closer to a wizard than you are what they call the sorcerer type. You see, it is about enforcing this and that. For wizardry, it's about manipulating the forces of the universe through complicated mechanisms, math, that kind of thing. So, what do? We just focus our mind by focusing on different variables and things like that to increase and emphasize what we're able to do. That being said, for someone like you, it may be just as simple as you watch as her hand kind of goes up and this spark of lightning shoots out and hits, this bottle on the wall. How much you want to kill something?
Oh, well, that's only happened once in recent memory. I don't try to want to kill, but when I saw Mr. K in danger, he didn't even take over. It was mainly my doing. It felt strange and seemingly almost natural, like it's part of my basic programming. But I forgot about what I used to be long ago.
The power is what it is. It is a part of you. It is your connection between, the soul and the universe and the material.
Oh, harnessing this newfound will over others will allow me to advance in this arcane ability.
That's a question you need to answer yourself. I honestly never studied any of those spells because I view that manipulating another one, even through the minor things such as one known as suggestion or the simple charm person just to make someone like you better, is just too enslaving. I really can't stand such ideas of manipulating another person forcefully. Well, I mean, not without it being an even playing field.
I tend to only use my spells when they're trying to harm me or the others of my unit.
That's good. It's just a personal thing. I'm not going to judge you unless you, well, there's lines that we all have.
Oh, do not worry, Miss Indra. I will always be a proper gentleman.
Good. Because I would really hate to use you as an anchor. You're not very
Let's take a
spiky.
good anchor. And my server is not really meant for holding the ship. I won't.
Good. I'm glad you figured that one out. Needless to say, Deckham, you might have to figure it out yourself how you do it, but it seems like you're already on the right road. It's just a matter of what you want to try and do with it, and how much you want to do it. And how much you're not going to be tethered by the rules of the universe.
I think I've already broken several of them.
Hell. That would make sense to some of us. But I've had a number of ones like you on board, not, well, I've had Warforged and I have had Sorcerers. Each one just seems to tend to find that part inside them that says, this is what I do, and this is how I will do it. But
I think that's the part that I've been trying to figure out.
it's about confidence. Be confident in what you're going to do. You have the ability to do it. Just do it.
Right. Well, I do thank you for your guidance, but you have an entire ship to run. I won't take any more of your time.
I mean, that's why we have, first mates and second mates. And all the others is to do that stuff so that I have time to do paperwork, which I don't really have to do. Either way.
I think piracy came along without paperwork.
Oh, accounting is very important. Which is why I had accountants.
Well, you've definitely given me a lot of things to think about.
I mean, granted, he was getting tired of the Ember Temple and all that, so... yeah. That was an easy deal. Well, we should be arriving within a few hours. So, if you need me, you know where to find me. And my door is only open when it's open. If it's closed, it's not open.
I would wait outside.
I'd rather you not, that just gets awkward.
All right, then. And he pretty much about faces and just walks off. And she's walking down the hallway. Hello. Hello.
God damn it.
Anything else?
Elias just probably do some quiet prayer and meditation, especially just thinking of the events that have been going on and just hoping that Chel's at least okay now that she had escaped the dreaded realms.
Kyle's probably just looking at the pocket watch he has and just kind of opening it and closing it kind of thing.
eyes feel the submarine surface. You kind of let up, kind of see from the dock is the dock that you once took a small boat from a couple of times from Haig's Lighthouse, this tiny rickety thing. It now looks considerably longer, still rickety, but you can see that it actually seems to have adapted somehow and changed to accommodate such a large vessel coming up to dock at it.
Oh, well, that got an upgrade.
And you, Deckham, you see a familiar face sitting there, not on the dock, because you can kind of see at one point she kind of reaches over with a foot, and you can imagine that it made a creaking noise, and she kind of jumped back like, I'm not going down with that thing. As Kay is standing there, waiting for all of you.
Oh, good. When she said it was a busy 20 minutes, I was very worried. And he disembarks very carefully.
It's creaky, but it feels like it's not stable, but it is.
It's okay. It's good to see you again.
Oh, yes, it's good to see you guys back. Is everyone okay?
I'm relieved. Unfortunately, we've misplaced Aura.
Misplaced?
Well, I was offline at the time. Elliot or Kyle, could you give a better explanation?
From,
Taken by. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
well, Aura and I were checking on Abby, and he went on to inform Deckham and Kyle while I stayed behind to do some investigation, not realizing that he was in danger of some thing coming after him. Kyle and I attempted to try to save him, and he was, as he gestures over to Kyle, as she was holding on to him, he turned to mist.
Oh, that explains why Callisti was a bit frustrated.
Apparently looks over to Kyle for confirmation. An individual by the name of Ricky said it was a gun wraith.
Oh, Richard. Yeah.
Oh, I mispronounced the name.
Uncle Ricky is another. I know what you're going for, Miser. That's another character.
That's perfectly fine.
I also
No,
just always call him that by default.
this is both player and character messing up the name intentionally.
Love Uncle Ricky.
Okay. I honestly don't know much about this, so, Callisti's waiting, and I have, is that the gentleman as you hear the hoisting, Desperado out of the hold?
Yes, Deccan can fill you in on the peculiar details.
Yes, my voice modulator muted itself.
Oh dear.
Do we need to check on that?
No, it's a cognitive process that I sometimes forget still. Yes, that would be Desperado. He seems to be a slightly different unit than mine, but more of a slender and sleeker, so it might be actually be easier for you to work on him than opening up all the plates that I have.
Well, we'll see.
But, don't mess with the aesthetic. He seems to really enjoy it.
Oh, okay. I mean, it wasn't. Let's just get him in, shall we?
Absolutely.
I will
Gentlemen! And he'll turn around and talk to all of the skeletons he knows by name.
Elliot will just hold the door open.
Yeah, Ismark and Zandahal and Cinder disembark as well. Then you watch as like Syndra kind of gets onto the land, and she kind of sways a little bit, and then she's just like, I still can't get used to this. Why is everything so solid? All right, so if you guys bring him in,
We don't have to RP it, but Jacob will obviously introduce Kay to Syndra.
yeah, okay. She's very cordial about it.
And I mean, he'll head into where the workshop is. Ah, there you are. Hello, Miss Callisti.
Oh, you can see that she's like sitting there in her chair, and she was kind of like looked like she was just like thinking, and then she just, oh, hi, Dickum. You're here, okay.
Oh, did I interrupt your spell? I apologize.
No, I just I need coffee.
Perfect. Mr. Kay, I'll meet you and Desperado in the workshop. I bought a special something. And Decker was going to fix up the pot of that Brazilian coffee he bought. Why didn't you bought it?
I figured, but still, it's funny as shit just to hear in a fucking D&D game.
It is. It's so great.
And it makes way too much sense in this fucking world.
I think, that's just metagaming on my half, so I gotta keep quiet. But, Elliot, upon hearing, or at least giving the update to Kay and about Aura, seeing the whole interaction between Callisti and Deckham, it's just that I suspect your headache is more than just the situation with Aura.
Well, I haven't slept well lately. Don't worry about it. I need some time to recover. I'll be fine.
Haunting visions, nightmares.
Yeah.
Yes, it seems to be a common occurrence in this dreadful realm.
You know what some of the locals of this domain or these worlds call the pleasant dream, right?
A dreamless one?
No. They call it the silence before the storm. Because apparently they always have nightmares. Syndra, is this the one? Yeah, it was the one that we found in the log books. And he apparently does have a map to the Unquenchable. Good, so we can get the engine. That's where the next route is for you guys. Is to get to the Unquenchable. I know this is a lot on you guys, it really is, but nobody else can really do this. Also, how did it go at the Isle of Cicero?
Well, as we had just informed Lady K, Aura was absorbed or taken by the mist from a gunwraith creature. Kyle and I had attempted to save him, but the entity didn't seem to be fazed by our efforts and left us, well, Ellie will very carefully, because he still has the bullet that Kyle passed it to him, holds it up, left me and Kyle memento.
No, you can either hold on to that until he comes back, if he comes back, or she kind of very groggily kind of gets up, moves over to one of the bookshelves, picks up a box, and she opens it, and you can see, sitting on black velvet, you see you see a casing, and then you see 3 bullets. One seems in pretty good condition. One has definitely been mushroomed pretty badly. And then something you imagine is made of the same material. But whatever happened, it really did some damage to whoever it hit. Because you're pretty sure that's a chunk of bone sticking out of it.
Just going to do the.
2 people I buried because of Winchester.
Well, considering that we need Aura back one way or another,
Not inherently.
still pockets the bullet as he is lacking the common sense to drop bullet into box. I suspect this Winchester and myself are gonna have another encounter.
Honestly, I hope you don't. I know it sounds mean, but if you came and took Aura, there's not that much probability of success of anything if you go after him.
Elliot kind of stares hard at Callisti. Not threatening or anything, it's just a stare.
You can make an insight.
Okay. He's really, really well for his insights.
You, at first, I don't know if you were angry or upset, but you realize that under that exhaustion, she's tired, and it's upsetting to her to think about it, but what she's saying isn't what she feels in her heart, but she's making a decision.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll this to see how Elliot approaches this.
Oh
Of
no.
course, he's not gonna approach this quite well. So, Elliot just takes a deep sigh. Well, I have already made my decision to at least attempt to save Aura, and to not hesitate on my decisions again. So, regardless of how tired you may be and what you may or may not wish to do, I will not allow indecisiveness to grip me again. If the attempt to save Aura fails, then it will be upon my own head. And if by the chance we do encounter Winchester again, I don't intend to hold back my annoyance toward the complications that he has done to us all.
Elliot, don't get me wrong. This isn't the first time Aura came through these doors when you walked in the day that you guys washed up on the beach. I just really don't want to bury more people because of him. And yes, I was really hoping that you would be here and this would be the time that maybe it works out or something. I don't know. but sometimes we have to cut our losses here, and that's really what I have to look at. I'm sorry. Your chances of getting out of here are significantly lessened if you actively try to go after him. You're welcome to do it. But I would be honest with you, I really hope you don't, because do you know what this place starts doing to you after years?
Such as making bad decisions.
I wish that was the least of it.
Looks over the direction of where Syndra is at, or at least where he last saw her enter and out. Right. All things considering, there is a lot to discuss about. I will.
Elliot. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I will wait until Deckham is here, since us three are more or less the conduits of this situation. But returning back to the topic of the Island of Cicero, there's mystery upon mystery being compiled there, and an encounter with a child, questionable child, that proclaims to be a Rudolph Van Richten.
Oh, yeah. Van Richten.
There seems to be a faction of the Faith of Ezra there from Darkon, and they seem to have an inner sanctum that is inaccessible, as well as a basement or catacombs. Cover up for murders and alteration of memory of some of the children witnesses. There is some suspicion, but no confirmation as of yet. And could not locate the item that Margula had taken from me. You said that my amulet might be there.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, sorry, but short of Van Richten being there, it doesn't sound like the Abbey is outside of its... I mean, yes, the cover-up stuff, that's definitely interesting, but... Anything else?
Look over to Kyle.
Elliot,
Mm.
can I have the room for a minute?
Of course.
I think Decca might need some help. And she'll look at Zan as well.
Then they're sitting there eating a cookie. oh, you need me to leave?
That's
Yes,
exactly
please.
what he's doing.
Alright, she'll get up from the fire and kind of walk over to the cat. And look at her, like, just with this almost, not anger, but very not dealing with this shit kind of thing. And she'll look at her and be like, so what did you and Margulis want with my brother?
Who's your brother?
Can I roll an insight on that?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna bump that up just because, with, where is it, my psychic, because it is something I'm proficient with, I gotta just read how much you can bump it up. Oh, well, didn't mean to post the whole thing, but, oh, a D8. Let's go. 18.
She honestly is reaching through her mind to
Okay.
try and think if she knows anybody who looks like you.
I went by the name of Hermes.
No, that's not the right Hermes. So I wouldn't bet anything to her. She gets up and you watch, she goes over to pulls a book that seems a few years old, handmade. She starts flipping through it. Very quickly, she's flipping through it. Okay, I remember him saying something about the exact terms. That damn Hermes, and where did he hide it? Now we will never know. As to your probably the bigger overriding question, I didn't know him until I got stuck. Ended up finding a ship, thinking it was somewhere to go. He offered. Seemed like we had the same ideas in mind to get out of here. We were both fairly new, understandably, to this domain, or the domains, and then I ended up here. Taking over for Vistani Madam. As she kind of plumps back down.
Did you teach him anything that shouldn't been taught to someone of his caliber?
I want you to understand that one of my flaws is trying to believe in people. And he's a charismatic bastard.
Yeah. Trust me, at least I got one of his people dead.
Oh?
Yeah, I killed Virgil with apparently the knife that we got from the Abbey. A man was trying to cut potatoes with it or something and just kept cutting his finger. Let me fucking pull out this knife and hopefully it doesn't kill Gillis. 27. God damn! I'll pull out the knife.
There's no silver or anything to it.
Nope. Just a rusted knife, but when I stab, it has a way of just killing, more or less. Or hitting the target even if I seem to miss.
You watch as she motions and starts casting a spell.
Alright,
And
I guess I'll get
pulls out a pearl. Okay, it's just a knife.
See, that's what I keep trying to tell everyone, but everyone seems to think this is like Devil's Incarnate. Either way, she'll kind of slap it back. The others will probably ask about Margolius as well, but I figured since I have some more personal connections to the captain, I'd at least get them off my chest.
Yeah. As far as you wanted to know, I am the reason he can jump around.
Oh, honey, you shouldn't have said that. Give me a minute. Oh no. Give me a minute, because I gotta think of how to word this specifically, because that was not the thing to say. You, like, Kyle turns around for a minute as she was gonna go sit down, and she kind of accepted. Bad things happen to good people sometimes, just because. But then she just looks over at her with the most just fury in her eyes, almost like she's seeing red. She's not like poised to attack, but you could just see the anger and intensity kind of going off of her. You did what?
So you can make an insight if you want, but I don't know if you want to an emotion.
I think she's too blinded by rage at this point that she's not really, like, she's like in the moment kind of thing. Like, it wouldn't make sense, like, character-wise for her to kind of react that way, to, like, look for emotions, so.
Callisti motions with her hands, and you see an image of a device. I built a thing I think I showed you before. The map of the multiple planes and spheres. I built a device. That's how I ended up here. A miscalculation. And he took it from me. After I showed him, and we tried to get out together.
And roll one more time. Where's my wisdom? Of course you did. Fine. She's just gonna go and sit down near the fire.
Who wants Why the hell are you all in here?
I turn around, Zan's eating a cookie, Ismark's like cleaning his fingernails, Syndra's like looking through it's just like she's totally not listening in and looking through the spice rack.
Oh, Elliot is obviously listening in. He's just leaning by the door and looks over to Decca and just says, giving Kyle and Callisti their private talk session.
Well, move out of the way. I have to get back to helping Mr. Sky.
I think they're already done, as he also comes along.
Puts down a silver tray with what's ever left of a pot of coffee from whoever took Eddie and a little tin of sugar and cream.
And right behind Decca, Elliot just... I guess you're all done now?
Yeah, we're good.
For now.
You just see her kind of like sitting crisscross on the floor, like looking at the fireplace.
He'll just make his way to the seats over here.
Fantastic. Well, if you run out, let me know. I will be aiding in the procedure. Goodbye.
Any tea possible when you're ready.
Second, as you approach the door, you hear, "Oh, mistress, this is most unusual."
He just squints and everybody in the kitchen can hear, "The welder."
But yeah, she's got him the clothes. She actually cut them off. And you're staring at a naked skeletal form. He's got some pretty severe wound, especially what looks like a very massive puncture wound in his right thigh. And you can start seeing, the buildup of grime and stuff around joints that have just seized up.
Well, Jacob does his best. He's proficient in Tinker's tools. Not the greatest, but he can do the medial work while Kay does the actual work.
Alright, you can roll Tinker's Tools at advantage.
$27.
You are realizing it's going to take a while, but as you start taking plates and such off, you start to realize that it's probably going to be a bit of time, but you'll be able to do it. nicely, especially with the right thigh. There's some odd things that happened. At one point, you're taking off the shin, and out pours a bunch of what looks like seeds or rice, and chunks of something wooden.
Did you have a squirrel living in you for a while?
No, no, senor.
Hmm.
It is
Odd.
sound familiar. And maracas.
What?
As you pull the thigh plate off, you realize that there is what you assume must have been some kind of musical instruments, something between, because you see guitar strings and this wooden object that you've seen other pieces of, and more of these seeds that have been just shattered to heck by this horn of just black material, chitinous material.
I apologize, but I do think that your maracas were damaged beyond repair.
Those were Pablo's. See,
You can only assume this Pablo was a companion of yours.
he had the best shakes, the best straddles, senor. But nonetheless, we must continue.
Yes,
And
maybe with several days of mending, we might be able to.
as you
Fix them.
realize, the more you two get into him, she's taking off other plates. He's meant to be very agile. And apparently, something between a warforged and a music box, as you notice that a lot of his moving parts would be able to play on strings, or, like some part of the clip would play the strings as he would move or something like that, so that he was basically had his own fanfare as he moved.
Oh my god, he had a theme song? Deckham needs
Or,
to
he
fix
would
that.
do like or he would do certain motion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Deckham is absolutely trying to fix that. Probably to Kay's dismay, because I'm not helping fix him anymore. I'm helping fix the stupid sound effect.
Well, you realize that that's part of what's happened, is that this injury to his leg compounded. The more you look into it, these strings got pulled tight and then they snapped, so they wrapped around this part and they started gumming up this part, and you realize it's just kind of a ball of mess inside of him that basically slowly caused him to be immobilized.
No,
It was a terrible design for combat.
No, not as significantly damaged as we assumed. Just okay, here. And he just points out to, if we just unwrap these, I believe most of his leg components will be back in working order.
Yep. And
But he points to like where they would connect. But these here seem to be an integral part, so we will need to either find a substitute or reattach them somehow.
he's trying to see, and after a while, yeah, parts of him do start limbering, and some of it, like, you unwrap him, like his like leg shoots straight out, kind of thing, because it's just so sprung tight for time, and it's gonna take you a while longer. But and we'll move back to the other group. Elliot.
Elliot's just silently brooding a bit, thinking, watching over Kyle and Callisti. He was listening in on their conversation, but chose not to interfere since, well, as Kyle said, it was her personal matter, but Elliot just wanted to be there just in case things went pear-shaped.
Well, it could have went cat-shaped, but thankfully it didn't.
True, considering there's two cats there and and only one can actually climb the walls. But otherwise, he's mostly just thinking to himself of, well, how they handle the situation at the Abbey.
You watch Cinder comes in, eventually kind of leans there. So, did you tell them why we're going after the map and why we need to go after what the map has at the end of it?
We were sort of waiting until Deckham arrives so we can all have that question.
Oh.
Mostly so. It can only be said once, necessary, and gestures over to first Kyle and then to Callisti. I believe these two still need a bit more rest, or, well, one needs rest and the other to collect thoughts.
Well, that being said, while I won't turn into a pumpkin, then I think I'll head back to the ship. This land sickness is aggressive.
Understood. We don't want to establish roots here. Thank you again, Captain Gallos.
Well, sure, we're probably getting a lot farther going.
Well, best to express my gratitude now and not risk the chance of being seen as ungrateful.
I like you. Don't die out there.
He just snorts a little bit.
I bet you probably don't hear that much, especially around here with the whole Fang thing.
Here I thought I kept my mouth shut enough that people wouldn't even notice it.
Oh, believe me. Snowy doesn't keep her mouth shut.
There's a pause. Right. I see what you mean.
By the way, how were the mountains? So she kind of just goes and shuts the door.
He just mumbles to himself. Hopefully it's within earshot of Cinder, says I had to hit myself to remind my oath.
She kind of leans to the window. You should really get out and live more.
Who said this isn't living?
Because it's so boring.
Boring is fine. As he takes a sip of his tea.
Alright.
He just looks over to Kyle. Are you doing alright now?
Like I said before, simple conversation doesn't really make the pain go away, but definitely fucking doesn't help.
Well, you don't have to bear the burden alone.
Yeah.
Just know that me and
I'll try
Deckham...
them with the birds. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And Elliot just asked, just know that me and Deckham have your back.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep that in mind.
Despite our obvious differences in seeing things. He just drinks his tea.
Well, if we don't have much else to talk about, then I'll skip things ahead of it.
Mm-hmm. Just waiting for Deckham to arrive, and we have our interrogation session with Callisti.
Well, Deckham, you and Kay get to a point where basically you know this from your early days, where she's basically going to soak him in a bath of a mixture of oil and some other anti-seeds. Yeah.
Lubricants, anti-rust.
Yeah. And that's probably going to take overnight.
Alright, well, you enjoy your bath there, and as he's dropping him in.
All you do is
Gracias.
eat your bloop, 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 bloop.
I can't.
I like that.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'll be awake if you want to talk, Deckham.
Nice, just like the good old days. You may want to. Don't take this the wrong way, but bathe. You are covered in grease, oil, and looks like soda.
She kind of moves over to you. So are you, big guy. And, you know, not a bad thing.
No, never.
And she'll head off towards the bathroom.
And Deckham will head back in. While he's walking in, everybody in the kitchen just sees him snap his fingers and prestidigitate himself clean.
So how's Desperado?
He's doing well. He's in a bath of a mixture of minerals, oils, and anti-rust agents. He got a majority of the work done, but the minor details are what usually take the most tedious amount of time.
We kept most conversation to a minimum, so in case we were to get important information, we all hear it at the same time, and no biasness amongst us and Calliste's reveal of why or what exactly are we looking for in this map and the connection that she has with Margula.
Well, since Kael's already brought it up, yes, I worked with Margulia when I first arrived here. Before I ended up here, I apparently didn't mention that he took something from me. That's the thing we need to basically get out of here. Amongst the other things. It's a bit more complicated, and that's why I've been having you guys go and do these fetch quests, I guess they like to call them some places. I don't want it to seem like that. I mean, I know you all have your own personal stuff and you need to get it taken care of, and luckily it's just trying to align with that. As to why we need the Warforged Gentleman and the Unquenchable is rumors and stuff says that there was an experimental engine. Spelljammer engine. It's a nomicide wheel, which is absolutely the second step towards Gretch's god-awful designs, I swear. I don't know, I honestly can't believe that gnomes make stuff as bad as goblins in some places. I'm getting off track. I'm sorry. This coffee was really good. Thank you, Deckham.
Yes, of course.
I didn't tell you guys because it's not important. I mean, I guess social stuff it is. But at the end of the day, we still have to find him. We still have to get that which binds you to this domain, these worlds here, and get out of here. In my case, this is how I've done to survive, is to be a part of the rules of the domain.
But
You guys can still function as an exception. I've been here a long time, and the only thing that has kept me from going as insane as that woman out there at the docks is having to play a part and watch people die. Either because I failed them or they failed themselves. Okay?
by extension, you mean the by aura, since you said that he was here before.
He's been here twice. I still can't tell you much beyond that, other than he's tied to Winchester somehow, and usually Winchester seems to win. And she kind of motions out the window. He killed 3 people out there once. That's where those 3 bullets came from.
If I may ask, but you mentioned about Margula taking possessions of ours to keep us locked to this realm. How is it that Aura, if he has been here many times, has he been outside as well? Did Margula take more than just his pistol, or were there more things
Margula took the same thing every time. Aura's necklace. Though my understanding is that's only the times he's encountered Margulia. At one point, I guess he ended up on the other side of the continent, from what I could research. Somebody else took his necklace then. Or he just bumbled around until he found Winchester. Or Winchester found him.
And I'm assuming since he's not dead, most of their duels end up in a draw.
I told you that time and stuff doesn't necessarily function correctly all the time. I'm not sure if it's the same aura every time or not. There has been only one thing I've noticed. This aura didn't seem as knowing of himself as the previous ones. So there is always degradation, I guess. Maybe it's part of the process, I don't know. Wherever he's going to the collapsed tower is the only thing I know. The only nightmare that he ever had, that he spoke of.
You never did quite mention about the collapsing tower to us, but you mentioned about nightmares and the like, especially if they have some sort of prophetic visions. Am I understanding this correctly?
Well, as I said, there's typically the average native has a nightmare against their normal dreams.
So going back on...
But my experience has said that people like us, they tend to have a bit more meaning, or something behind them.
Right. So going back to the island of Cicero, before we went there, I had I guess around here I believe I told you about a strange nightmare of encountering or dream of a woman approaching me while pauses to remember most of the details and relates it. That particular individual we encountered again, or rather we met her on the island of Cicero, a Sister Samantha. Yet when I inquired, she had absolutely no idea who I was. And from what we can at least ascertain, they are from the Faith of Ezra, part of the Darkhan faction that are supposedly xenophobic.
Well, I mean, that's probable.
Yes.
Is there anything more on that? I mean, it's
They've seemed to have taken an unhealthy interest in Kyle and myself.
that's. I mean, yeah. My understanding of even the most casual clergy of Ezra would take interest in, well,
They
Kyle, and let's be honest, you're a step from a vampire.
Yes,
So,
considering there might be a possibility that they are working with vampires. But
you didn't really tell me anything about that.
considering that they had to cover up a murder of people being killed by what's supposed to be called beastmen or shifters or lycanthropes, the bodies that we excavated were killed by various torture devices that were done by vampires.
Well, I mean, what?
Not to mention that the blood that was spilled all around was not of humanoid blood, but of animal blood. And they were interested as he just grabs the hilt of his sword of the Black Templar, pulls it out just a little bit. They were keenly interested about why I had this sword. And the final thing, which unfortunately the other two had not seen this, but only I did. I suppose it would be a spider familiar, but a silver spider that made threads of almost blood sent a message directly to me saying, "Run, Elliot."
Well, honestly, that means one of two things. Did anything happen with the spider besides that?
Well, on instant reflex, I swatted it.
And?
Turned to smoke.
Really? Because, I mean, I've heard of things like that, but that's usually hemomancy. But if vampires are involved, vampires have a much closer tie to their own blood. Hemomancy can evolve similar to Deckham's powers. It's innate.
Another interesting fact, my predecessor, or at least the predecessor that wielded the Black Templar sword, which I expect, or at least suspected is my sire, was on that island. Though he went missing.
Well, then that just... From what my people just told me, it sounds like you might be still looking for him on the island.
Yes, from what I'm gathering of what Van Richten mentioned about meeting a contact, and was also oddly curious about why I had the sword. Though he was a bit of a rude little shit. I think this is actually the first time both of you heard Elliot curse.
I mean, not to be blunt, but he is like... I mean, from what I've understood, read, he's... Well, his previous life, he was almost 673 when he passed away.
Age does not give you permission to be rude to those who are ignorant and wishing to learn or understand what's going on.
He's also a 672-year-old man that got stuck in the body of a 15-year-old.
That, unfortunately, is not my problem.
No, that's his.
Exactly.
I mean, she looks at all of you except for, Deckham for a moment, and it's like, Deckham probably wouldn't. I mean, not to be... But I mean, have you considered what it'd be like to go through puberty again?
Elliot keeps his mouth shut on this one because considering that he is 79 years old, he just looks like 30. So,
I don't want to remember my puberty because that's probably about the time I got sold. So that is not. Let's not go down that route.
that is not.
I mean, not to be blunt, but my understanding and talking Snowy, she is a wealth of information. There are things I really... You see her kind of stop. There were some things I really didn't need to know, but it helped. But anyway,
Elliot just pinches his nose again. Like,
I mean, you really have to question what it's like after some poor guy. I mean, you know what? We're not going to talk about it.
I will not.
If Van Richten's there, it means there's probably something way more interesting going on than just a vampire.
Well, considering that one of the sisters has the blood of a celestial in them. Looks over to Deckham. You mentioned something about one of them doing something to you while we weren't looking.
Yes, they are obviously skilled in magic. They know at least the third tier of spells. I believe it was one that I've been looking into myself, the suggestion spell. Should have seen it coming. I even had counterspell on me.
Oh?
Yes, a lesson judgment in my point. I thought we could trust them.
Considering that they were willing to house a young girl that had her memory modified, I am not as inclined. However, at the same time, I don't know if all of the sisters in there are he pauses to carefully word what he's about to say, compliant to the dangers there. There was that half-elf that refused to let us go into the catacombs. And yet, there was a game trail that led from the supposed crime scene back to the Abbey, or at least would lead more or less to that direction. And the fact that they go to such lengths to cover such a scene, and due to my, well, what I am, I can easily tell the difference between farm animal blood to sentient humanoid blood.
I will point out that that's not entirely common amongst your people. A lot of vampires can't.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
Illusty just kind of looks like a lot of vampires can't tell the difference. Because most of them have never stopped to think about it, especially young ones. Like yourself.
Elliot pauses, blinks for a little bit. I suppose I'm an oddity amongst vampires then, considering that I
Well,
never
you are
actually...
a half vampire, first of all, but no, what I mean is that most vampires don't take vows of, not eating people.
For the near 80 winters of my life, I have not eaten a human at all.
Zan kind of pops his blue eyes around the corner. Really? You haven't even thought about it once?
No.
You know, pretty little snack,
No.
just a nibble.
No.
Just Mark. Really? You know,
No.
just reach out there and
The no's are getting sterner, harder, and possibly getting more irritated as he has to repeat himself. And then he just adds, in my youth, while I did had blood cravings, the most that I've had eaten was a horse or cow.
Zan kind of turns to Ismark. Told you. Damn your nose. Yep, not a scent of human on him. Poor elf. And here's. In fact, I feel kind of bad for him. I don't think he's ever been with somebody.
I took the
Zan,
vows of...
the fact that your nose could pick that up at 3 feet. Well, when you're blind, things get worse. You know, well stronger that way.
Elliot just pinches the bridge of his nose. Why is it so strange that I took such vows and still keep hold to them? Is it that rare?
Well, do you want some honesty about that in this place, or the honesty about the universe, or...
It was meant to be a rhetorical question.
Okay, because I mean, in the greater scheme of the universe as a whole, it's actually a very tiny minority that actually holds to celibacy. In here, actually, there's a couple of good factions that hold on to celibacy, and they are... She kind of stops for a moment.
Elliot mentally thinks that's just it. I took the vows of chastity, not celibacy. There's a difference between those, but I'm not going to correct these people.
Well, I was using it interchangeably.
No. That's Elliot thinking about it, and it's just like...
Yeah. And she kind of stops, and she's like, you know, I, academically speaking, have heard of a lot of weird, kinky shit.
Yes, and we were going off topic, but yes.
Zan, stop looking at me when she said that.
You know, you see Callisti, she's just suddenly, you get this look on her face, like, she's like, there are levels even I am like, what the...
Elliot just goes, yes, returning to the topic though. That's why I was able to identify all the farm animals that were being used as cover-up blood, and the fact that they were trying to pin this fabricated crime scene on beastmen or lycanthropes. When...
I guess the other question is, were they trying to hide it from you? Or from other people who would have absolutely no idea?
Likely from the latter. I doubt they were
they
expecting
probably
this.
made an idea that you wouldn't be as capable.
That which was very stubborn.
The problem is, it sounds like either Deckham got too close to the truth, or... I mean, there's always that chance that Deckham just flat out scared the poor gal.
I tend to be intimidating. Especially when people are lying to me. I hate liars.
As do I.
But it does sound like you're on the right track. If things are talking to you directly, it does mean that you have some connection to that area.
There was
So be
also...
careful of it.
There was also... Well, Deckham can confirm this, but while we were resting in the Abbey, it seemed like the Mother Superior was trying to pay my room a visit, but I had already taken cover hiding in Deckham's quarters because I didn't trust the fact that there was a spider giving me a message there.
Yes, she seemed to stop by his room late at night. I not hear the door open, but there are obvious magical means of figuring out if somebody's in a room or not.
I mean, I honestly don't know what to tell you on that one. Maybe she was just worried.
That's just it, though. One of the sisters there seems to be afraid of the others. The Mother Superior, Sister Laura, and Sister Samantha, who also was the one that. Sister Samantha was the one I saw in my prophetic dream.
But you said she didn't recognize you.
So she says.
She kind of turns. Ismark? Yeah? What was... You told me about a dream that someone had. Oh. Which one? There was a lot of dreams. The one where, the people involved didn't actually know. Oh, right. Yeah, that tends to happen sometimes. Adamita said it was, what do you call it? The subconscious will of the soul overriding the reality, or something like that, where, the dark power reaches out, extends the soul energy, using it to what it wishes.
Right, so the fact that as you had mentioned about, as you looked over to Callisti, that has some connections and all that. There was that particular message of your parents are waiting for you, don't make them wait any longer.
I mean, do you have any familial resemblance to this, Sister Sammy?
Not that I know of. I've been an orphan for as long as I can remember.
Ismark. Maybe she just wants to jump his bone.
Elliot visibly scowls.
Yeah, Callisti just kind of shrugs and looks at you like, eh?
In fact, it's such a scowl you actually see the fangs. Right. Anyway, we do intend to go back there eventually. And hopefully we'll have enough resources to handle what's thrown our way there. I don't think us three will be sufficient enough to deal with an entire possible coven of vampires hiding in... I suspect they're in the catacombs, and a possible duplicitous abbey full of nuns and sisters who might not truly be working for the faith of Ezra, but some other darker services.
Well, you might be in some luck at least. Van Richten's there. He is known for his ability to remove, to kill a lot of vampires at once. You know what, he actually keeps a lot of really good notes, so I'm gonna have to go with believing him.
Right.
Fantastic. It'd be good to have aid. Do you believe we can trust this man?
She kind of motions, and you see a image start appearing in the air. Was he like this, and with a tabaxi like that? As you see a very spot-on picture of Van Richten and Sunway.
Ah, yes, the rude boy that was smoking. Bad for the lungs, from what I heard.
Well, then that's probably them. And I mean, the worst case is they bring the whole circus down.
Well, hopefully when that does happen.
Good, the circus wasn't in town.
Oh my fucking god. You see the facepalm on Kaya?
Elliot joins you. Elliot joins you on that one.
No, what I mean is Snowy's entire family is an extended family, are circus folk. Or more specifically, monster hunters parading the circus folk.
Ah,
The
that makes
last-
more sense.
And the last time she holds, does air quotes, took care of a vampire coven. Well, let's just say the countryside was forever changed with explosives.
So they do a lot of collateral damage just regarding the innocent.
No, actually, they completely made sure everyone was fine.
Good. If that was not the case, I would have had a serious word with those two.
Van Richten did drain an entire reservoir once, though, for a vampire coven.
I'm gonna have to ask him exact details of that.
Well, some vampires have a problem with flowing water. So he turned the master vampire and the entire underground crypt into a underground river.
Sorry, excuse me. Oh, for a moment there, I thought you said that he turned an entire town into an underwater reservoir.
No, that was Strahd.
That is the vampire half of the alchemist person that we deal with.
Yeah, I found out that there used to be this town in one place. It's a swamp now. Apparently he got all pissed off because his whore of a girlfriend, they tried to kill her, and the mayor's daughter. You know, that shit happened a lot. Just tell the stories, Mark. Right. So he had the hots for the mayor's daughter, who was reincarnation of Irena. And, well, they murdered her by putting her to fire, and he found himself that freaking Popovsky girl. What was her name? Volanta. Yes, Volanta, that was the one. Oh, she was a psychopath. Yeah, she has a tendency to, well, she did. So it killed her. Again. We're getting off topic again. Anyway, he used that spell, something wave, tidal wave. Yep, and sank the whole fucking town.
I see. Right. Going off topic due to these things, but once Desperado is fully repaired, I guess we're going on to the next fetch quest.
If we know where it is, it's not important because then Margulia doesn't know where it is. And Callisti kind of closes her eyes. The reason you guys are going after the same thing is because sadly before he kind of knows exactly what I'm planning. But this kind of gives us a step up.
So back to the main question. when Desperado is repaired, are we or are we not going to go straight to the item? Or should we continue dealing with the things that are, as he gestures to himself and to Kyle, our personal problems?
Well, Elliot, I would say you probably should stop by. It's on the way.
Repeat that one more time, the place?
Back by the Isle of Cicero.
Okay.
It is on the way. And you do know that you're clearly tied to the place. They've made a move. They've shown some of their hand to you. Whatever the dark power is.
I have a dreadful suspicion as to what it might be.
Besides, I don't know exactly. We'll have to wait till tomorrow morning to figure out exactly where we're going. Mr. Desperado does seem to think that we'll be headed back the same way. Of course, just to drop him off, but he seems to think you'll be headed that way as well to figure out where you're going.
Right. Safety of our non-combatants is paramount. I think I've answered, or I asked all the questions that can come to mind. I don't know if anyone else has other insight or perspectives that I've missed.
I think I have everything I need for the time being until we start stabbing that motherfucker.
We're trying to stab some colored vampires as well, just to get some practice in.
Might as well.
Right, our two DPSs are agreeing on this.
On who to murder.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Oddly enough, we could agree on this. We're going to be stabbing some vampires.
Alright, is Jeebus back?
Oh yeah, I've been talking.
Okay, I just didn't know.
I've added some input here and there.
Okay.
It's just Deca really not whole on board with the murder train.
We're sorry, Jeebus. Or Deckham.
To be fair, it's mostly I just want to put a knife through Margulis's head. That's not going to be for a while.
Well, do you guys have anything else you want to cover?
No, I took care of my personal stuff, really.
I think I got my points across. I justified Calliste's reasonings. I tried to help everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
and Elliot will eventually, after the whole conversation, he'll just walk over. Actually, I'm going to roll this one more time.
When does the murder squad get to murder?
Well,
We're not the murder squad. There are fucking 3 of us.
We're the
Yeah.
murder squad. We murder.
he'll
No,
go
we
over.
don't.
He'll go over to that box that Kelsey showed the
We
bullets for
slightly
him,
maim.
and he'll deposit the bullet in there. If what you
Yeah, I
say
guess I'll-
is,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, if what you say is true, then we don't need to be wasting time on things that no longer matter to us.
Oh, good. I didn't want to say it out loud.
Again, I want to help him.
He didn't seem to want anybody's help, no matter how hard I tried.
There's always something bigger at stake. But... And that's the thing here. She got emotions. I'm not just trying to get myself out of this. Or you. She motions towards, the others. There is Mark, and there's them. There's Syndra and her crew.
I know. is why I gave you the benefit of the doubt, because you saved Charlie when you were not obligated to. That's why, even if you had kept some secrets from us, we are not in any position to simply judge you for someone's manipulations of your kindness. Just as a request, do not become twisted or jaded too much. There is evil, yes. Evil that will eventually be punished one way or another. But that's only when those who have good hearts choose to stop doing nothing and do something about it. You're simply doing what you can to make amends.
Alright. With that, we shall pass into night. Night goes off without a hitch. The next morning, Deckham, I'm sure you were helping. So, where's everybody else sleeping?
I'd probably do what I did last time. I just sleep by the fire, so.
Deli did some. I said Deli. Sorry.
Oh, heck?
He's come back!
Your fucking character.
I was gonna say I probably said Ellie. I'm not sure. Anyway,
It's alright, man.
it's a long day. It's a long day. But Elliot would be resting separately in his own room or in the room that Charlie was in, but he'll at least give his usual prayers to St. Cuthbert. One is for the thank you, and the other one is to guide everyone who seeks the light, and to grant everyone guidance to be better. Wow, you don't agree with me.
No, it's because you said Ellie.
Go grab him. God damn it.
Okay, I can't find any decent music for that, so we'll just accept that. Elliot and Kyle, I need you to make me a Constitution save.
I'm gonna die.
Uh-oh. I will burn my inspiration for advantage,
Same, actually.
because I don't have much modifier for a Constitution saving throw. Good thing.
Wow.
What a miss.
I made them
like
all
both.
Constitution saves.
Because we're bad.
Yeah, we're not modified for we min-maxed ourselves.
Then you both are not completely scared out of your fucking wits when you hear the sounds of Bring Ole! I have returned, senors.
Oh my
Señoritas.
fucking god. Jesus. What the fuck? Why are you ringing every time you step?
From the maintenance here, from the main room, you just hear Deckham. Let's put some pants on!
Senor Panster. An option.
Oh my fucking god.
Let me enjoy this. It has been many years as he takes a pose and you hear another fanfare of guitar.
Is that just a feature in him? Is that gonna just be a thing we're gonna hear for the next 20 minutes?
It is optional. I can turn it off, CR, but
It is
it
fine.
has been so long since I have heard the music. And to have. And he sticks his arms up in pelvic thrust.
Oh, I hate this man. I
Elliot.
want him dead.
Just quietly comes out.
Did this man just JoJo pose on them?
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah.
like he fucking did.
Except there's mariachi music every time he does it.
It's like it's a fucking JoJo theme. It's just the fucking fucking Spanish theme.
As he basically like reaches over, grabs his flower off a thing, and then like basically tangos over to Kyle.
Oh my god,
I'd like bends over backwards with it in his mouth. Senorita.
You come closer
He's-
to it, me. I will make sure all your parts don't work again.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm very happy. This is. I never thought I would be able to do this again.
Elliot comes out and kind of just adds, "Let him have his fun, Kyle. I believed, as he said, it was many years since he was able to move, and I can't imagine what insanity one must endure to live
Well,
but not
considering we
move."
considering we deal with Deckham on a daily basis, I think this is just a small step up.
Well,
I have been trapped in this same position for half a decade. Trapped inside my own mind, inside my own body, unable. Nothing dance.
enjoy your liberated freedom, Desperado. But please
Oh, by
understand.
the way, Junior, as he walks by you,
Yes.
and there's definitely more of a shake to his hips than needs to be. As he reaches, you watch as he pops open the thing, or part of his chest, and he pulls out a sealed scroll case. Here you are, sir. Senor. I will
Thank you.
put on pants as requested. Hello, senorita.
Ellie just holds the sealed scroll toward Kyle.
Yes. And
Deckham, as he walks in, he strikes a pose in the doorway. I must ask, Senor Deckham, is she taken by you? I wish not to expose.
you know what I fucking just imagine is like the fucking like where those guys that put their hand on the doorway do like the most dramatic hair flip if he had fucking hair. And
Yes.
I hate that I imagine that.
Yes, Desperado can do that.
You all have seen the menacing meme, right?
Yeah.
So, so just for like Deco actually like here, standing behind Kay, he just looks at Desperado in the doorway, and just like this, all of the light in the room slightly dims, and his purple hue turns a slight higher shade of red.
Senor, I did not mean to offend you. I just wish to say that if she were not, I would ask for a chance of romance. Anyway, my pants.
Just puts a gentle hand on Kay's shoulder. Mistress Kay does as she pleases, but if you come on that strong again, you might end up having more circuits fried than me.
Kay looks up at you. I mean, it's kind of refreshing. You can roll an insight.
I was already about to ask. Oh, fuck me.
That was probably the most blatant, not entire. I mean, it was subtle, but there's definitely something in your programming that's like, wait. She's into what? She's into me. Wait, what?
Oh my god.
It's in view of whatever's happening. Everybody in the room just sees instead of red, lights turn pink and then immediately back to purple, like...
So glad we can't see that right now.
The Elliot can. And I can see part of your token.
I guess that I'll technically see like a glint of light, but not like a lot.
Yeah, she's, holding your hand a little bit and looking at you.
Should we be worried about that, Elliot? I think someone just flashbanged Deckham in the room.
Ellie just kind of moves over here and just goes, "No. They are grown adults. They can handle themselves." Just
Three.
resumes
I was
drinking.
gonna say, he's literally a machine. I
Elliot
wouldn't
just
say
shrugs.
he's
Well,
an adult.
he
He's
just
a machine.
shrugs. takes another drink of tea. Ah, that's some good tea.
Well, time to make this awkward.
Oh, fucking God. Like it wasn't already?
Yeah. He looks at the head and looks at her and just says, "You are the most precious thing to me."
God damn it!
There's that kind of sigh, and there's a smile, that content kind of like, oh,
Oh?
like, oh, he got it.
But for now,
now
we
close
need
that.
to
Yes.
focus on getting out of here, and my new sense of, well, self. It's still strange to me. The ability to want for myself. I was going to have you check over my programming, but I don't think this is a defect.
Actually, just right away. First of all, that right there is a beautiful prompt. Second of all, sentience has its own thing, and I can tell you, it is not a defect, even if it seems like it. Which also brings up an interesting question. You are a most interesting design. I was going to talk to you about that when I had a chance, now that I can see you from every side. But I can take you to the sake. Ring, as he runs out and makes a pose before walking
I
out.
love him. This is one of my favorite NPCs. Oh my
Fucking
god.
end him.
Meister's sitting there going, I created this NPC. And Moogle has just,
Yeah.
destroyed it.
Enhanced.
No, you enhanced it. You embellished it really nicely.
I'm ready for him to die.
I would say more, but I'll be after session, so.
And so he steps back in. Let's see. It is a quarter turn to the right, then a full turn to the left. I believe that should open it.
Yes, be sure to introduce yourself to, or reintroduce yourself to Sindra Gallos, and I suppose she'd be interested in your reparations. There's a slight
yes.
amused, there's a slightly amused smirk as Elliot continues drinking his morning tea.
Yes, El Capitan shall dance for her. Shall I dance for you too, Miss Felicity? You see Felicity just sitting there, and she just takes her glasses off, cleans them, and you can see that, like, she is somewhere between yes and no, and
God, please help me.
early for this.
I'm gonna roll persuasion to Callisti to let her agree to yes, and I'm just gonna simply say, you know, with all the stuff that you've been dealing with, I think maybe a little bit of entertainment can help lighten your mood and the burden on your shoulders. For a brief moment, just forget about all the stress you're dealing with.
We don't really dance, to be honest. Do not worry. They have taught many, señorita.
Isolate. Ole.
Basically.
I'll roll that
Over
persuasion.
the head.
I hope it's good. If a deadpan, most of the time, dour vampire tells you to go have fun.
Yeah, she takes off her hat,
Oh my god.
and she's very gingerly about it, you know, at first. But at the same time, Elliot, I want you to roll me a D100.
Oh shit. I'm sorry, guys.
Now you explode. You deserve it.
I know. 5.
Well, first of all, they begin dancing, and it is a full-on tango back and forth and around the room, and you probably didn't think Callisti was that. I mean, for a cat, you figured she was probably flexible, but once she's gotten into it, is doing pretty well. You know, the back bends and things like that, and the twirls. And she's getting into it. And just as it's about to get good, you all hear a cling.
Oh,
And he kind of got her in a full dip, and is suddenly like, oh dear. Senorita, I seem to be having a problem with my hips. This is never happened.
I just want to leave.
Senor Deckham, could you please? It's the one hip, the right one. Senor?
Deckham, after
Mistress K?
I will deal with it.
Then you see Callisti bent back, nearly her head's touching the floor, almost touching the floor, and she's just like, oh, I got about 2 seconds for this to start hurting.
We did tell him that there was no need for extraneous movement, right?
Well,
Ellie is going to very carefully pick up Callisti while adjusting or trying to straighten out Desperado. What should I roll for that?
I'm not getting involved in this bullshit.
Elliot suggested it, so he's going to get involved because he suggested it, so he's going to see it through and aid whatever he can. As he sees Deckham come in, it's like, Deckham, can you help Desperado while I help Callisti here?
you pretty quickly recognize what the problem was. His auto healing systems weren't really kicking in. So yeah, he kind of overdid it on a hip that probably wasn't, the one that had the maraca in it. So you kind of move the pants and
It's strange
There's a
that
socket
he's
wrench in
striking
there.
here. We told you there were replacements. They weren't actually guitar strings.
ka-ting. Yes, you watch it kind of kicks back and he releases and writes both him and Callisti. Sorry, senorita. Thank you, senor.
Thank Deckham. He is far more knowledgeable about this than I am.
And if we could please not speak of this, I've never had that problem before.
Not at all. It
No,
was
and
a very...
like we said last night, your auto healing systems are still decommissioned for the moment, but they should reboot themselves after a couple of hours, not 15 seconds.
It was out of excitement, so.
Yes, I know. I've done the same. Yeah.
Broke your hip before? Never mind.
Understandable.
But I have never had performance issues.
God damn it.
But you have to remember, too, Desperado, you've been...
Deckham tightens it a little tight after he says that.
Thank you.
Oh, senor,
He flicks the ratchet back around and looses it.
thank you. For the
You're the first Warforged I've seen who can do self-repairs.
Oh, I can. It just, in fact, you actually do notice that, some of the injuries that you guys weren't able to are starting to automatically hook in. It just was the complexity and the fact that there was stuff still jammed in the wound.
Yeah. But Deckham is talking about, using tools to fix himself, not just using the auto repair system.
I guess I should point that out that, Marcelo was the mechanic.
Ah, yes. No, I lied to you. We had several units in our unit that could not do repairs, such as myself.
I'm sure Ken and the others would teach me, but, and you and Mr. Skay have taught me correct amounts. It is as a matter as that I was a band. We were built to be a unit, like you say.
Deckham's lights not go dark, but go almost like a black light color when he brings that up. And he like quickly snaps back into it and kind of shakes his head and finishes up what he's doing.
Now then, if you're okay with this, Misty. And she's already, like, moving back. Thank you, Desperado. That was fun.
You both dance very well.
If you would, please open the scroll case, I can explain the contents.
Elliot does exactly that.
There is this sheet that comes out that is made out of some kind of metal. But it is definitely a map. As you will see there, it is somewhat enchanted to be able to track the unquenchable. Or more specifically, the ship that I was on. Which I guess technically, unless there has been a problem between them, are still rammed into and melded into each other. We, again, my memory is not so keen on it, but I arrived in Peridon because it was the closest city from the effect. It was not absolutely horrible. That being said, if you will notice a few of these landmarks as he goes over and begins motioning on it. This here was Peridon, and of course, I guess where we are here, out in the middle of this nothing, is you kind of see that there is like a ghost of a shoreline. You see like a place marked as Peridon, and then there's the borders of what he explained. You know, you've come to realize are probably these domains, as you see here. And now the problem is, as he motions across, this region here is the breach, and this here is your only access, from my understanding, through Mordholm. If you can get through Mordholm to here, it is on the other side, in this region. It is where you will find it, otherwise known as the event. Now, my understanding is, talking to people, if you travel north of Peridon, here as he motions up, you can go through the Icar Swamp, and through the roundabout way here, end up in Mordholt as well, and then pass into, again, the event.
Can you spell Mordhold for us? Just to make sure I'm spelling it right. I was spelling that wrong.
Now, of course, as you're looking, this is considerably small areas, yes? Except for the breach and the swamps. Those are, as you can see, the swamp is massive compared to the domains that Peridon resides in. And the breach itself, you watch as he kind of turns for a moment. He looks at you, Deckham. Your head does not match your body. Why do you look at me that?
Yes, I was a war unit in a war several thousand years before Mrs. K found my headpiece. She has manufactured this body to her specifications.
He just kind of stares at you for a moment, and you know that there's some part of the docent or something going on.
If I had one of those, I'd have a lot of extra shit.
such a great thing for work.
What do you mean?
He looks at you, after a few moments, you kind of see him.
Is that not normal?
There was a unit. There were others like you and me. One of them
Yes,
had
there were.
a head like yours. Not the same design. Yours is much more, I guess in military terms, rank.
Yes, I was a commander. I had a unit under me.
It's just unusual thing. They had a. Alright. At a 77 on the side of one of them. Deckham, roll me an intelligence save.
Oh shit, I actually have something I want to ask them.
That's a 19.
You have gotten used to it for some reason. But there is a flash of the number 77 painted on the side of a warforged like yourself.
I'm curious on one thing. Desperado.
See, here you go.
Was there a woman in charge of his group? Or rather, his maker?
Maker?
Well, I didn't tell anyone else yet, but when Deckham had a little bit of a, we'll say a malfunction, I heard a voice in his head while I was connected to him mentally. I don't know who it was.
Can you give me more information?
That's about all I got was her voice.
Did she say anything specific? Do you remember seeing?
Roll history, I actually don't remember. Player being dumb.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I actually don't.
Because he does look at Deckham too, like, anything she's saying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have a thing that I'm gonna do whenever my Mariner's done.
It was so painful that you just remember it being somewhere between white noise or static and a female voice.
Yeah, just mostly static and a female voice, like the equivalent of probably a machine just running through its paces, but without really producing any noise.
Was this during the Cross Manor event? I'll look at my notes.
No, this was after Deckham got shot by his own lightning bolt.
Ah.
Because I was still connected to him, and I had heard.
Yeah.
As you guys are having this conversation, pretty much in the middle of it, Deckham kind of shut down for a second. He saw the black light again, and just Deckham mumbles to himself, "Stealth unit 1177B decommissioned." Wait, are you talking about the prototype? There was a very humanoid warforged, but she had a lot of mechanics in her torso exposed and wings.
It really didn't.
You watch as Desperado kind of turns, and there is like this brightness to him. You've seen her. You've heard her voice.
Yes, that's when this sensation came over to me that I can make decisions for myself.
I do not know her name, but everyone knows her. She is the sentence. She is the reason. It is from her that our Warforged gained their freedom.
Huh.
I may have built long after that, but across many worlds when she comes for us. We are here, misfits, holding our souls, Senor. But you to speak to her, you have spoken to her, yes? See?
I have. It was a very brief conversation, but it was one.
You must be something special, Senor. I mean, I don't mean to even state this, but I have noticed your unusual design. Modifications, Senor. I was not sure if he nods to decay. Mr. K was more capable than she puts on. For you to have spoken to the divine spark, that he takes off his hat. That is an honor, Senor.
Things just got a lot more interesting.
And so I guess this, in a way, is a manifestation of the soul.
Yes, but why did she seem like she was in pain?
To be quite honest with you, you are a man of your gods, yes, Senor?
Indeed.
To put it in a way you would probably understand, she is our god. Granted, she is a moniker, mortal design. We do not know if she was a she or a he or whatever. Only that those who were touched by her sentience came once when we were freed. Simply being animated objects, Umbrian golems, or however it was that we were before. I was what they called an animatronic. Worked at a restaurant. But when she came to our world, so many of us, from the street sweeper to something as lowly as musicians as us, we all heard her voice, like the sound of 1,000 breaking bottles across the ground, of waves so strong of thunder, of the gentlest whispers. Most of us probably forgot it, but, you know, some of us write songs about it.
I need to find her.
There. I am certain you will find her somewhere. She is with us all. Beyond that, you have a decision, I think, Senorita. You travel through the swamps. It is the long way around. And my understanding is horrible with the flesh-eating slimes. Or there is the breach, which I'm certain you've probably heard of before. It's kind of notorious. We have had many refugees in Paragon.
You are the two with flesh. I will allow you to decide.
Do I not want my flesh anymore, or do I want to go to something that'll probably obliterate my body?
Felicity kind of sits there. The breach is probably the quicker route. Dangerous. But it is passable. On the other hand, the Ichor Swamp is also passable. But that would be if you can get her to help you.
Well, you
Yes.
two seem to want to get your blades dirty.
Elliot pauses, says her as in Syndra, or
Oh, now... what was her name? Morwen. The Swamp Witch.
Now what?
Elliot has a visible look of dissatisfaction.
It's a better name for a hag.
Yes.
No, she's not a hag.
Oh, perfect.
And from home
She's a Swamp Witch, and... You know, I try to put on an air of being, you know... this, you know, I try to be professional. She's kind of a freak.
Right. Breach it is then. I think we have enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason I would ever suggest the swamp, though, is that she exists outside of things somehow, and she has some interesting insight, but that place is pretty dangerous.
Question
It seems like either way is pretty dangerous, but being able to grab some insight from a knowledgeable arcane practitioner might be very helpful.
Should we be worried though? She's literally certified to be insane.
Question to DM. Oh.
I can count the amount of people on my hands that we have met in this plane of existence that were sane enough to talk to.
Most of them, actually.
That
You're
did not,
terrible at reading people.
that did not try to manipulate us in one way or another to some
Man,
other.
are they saying we're crazy? Like a fox is, Mark. Like a fox.
But question from player to DM: would Elliot know any particular rumors or because the way this swamp witch is sounding, it sounds similar to certain individuals that Elliot may have heard of, or at least, even though Clissy said it's not a hag, to him it almost sounds like the hags of a certain fortress that he was going to go out of his way to attack, but did not because of the confusion that they gave him.
You can roll me a history check. At advantage, because it hasn't been that long.
Alright. It's gonna be... Oh, shh. Never mind.
Remember that the swamp witch has been mentioned before. Especially about Aura, stating that he might, or that she might be able to tell him way more than anybody else. And you've heard about the Swamp Witch from Van Richten and Snowy. You've heard her spoken of a few times. Mostly as someone that nobody really wants to deal with, but they might have, you know, some information, but you get that impression from everybody that they'd rather not deal with her.
Okay.
But it's also been explicitly stated she's not a hag a couple of times.
Despite us wanting her to be one.
Not wanting, just assuming.
Yeah.
I guess Clissy goes, other than it's not the usual kind, she is a bit of a... Do they have them on your world? Druids? The
Most
people who
people
talk to trees?
do.
You mean the worshippers of
By the
nature?
K size.
Yeah.
Elliot just goes the worshippers of nature, or as
Yes.
some of them would
I guess
call
that's the way to put her.
defenders of nature, as they take it to extremes at times.
She's a druid of, well, she's a druid that seems like she might have been native here.
More like eco-terrorists.
Not every druid's a horrible person. Unless you get those spore druids, then they're eco-terrorists, especially when they start lighting shit on fire.
I mean, I know that there were some of the dinguses that... God, I've heard to get those spiders out of there.
Get fucked.
Oh,
Ravenloft was so... Those... Who thought... Why?
I regret my decisions, but I went with it anyway.
And you thought I wasn't writing shit down.
You know how long it takes to get Underdark spiders out of a forest when they become infected? Especially when they're getting empowered by a god. A dead
The hell's of the Underdark?
Wait, are you referring... He keeps his mouth shut at that point. It's like, oh, that's another god that is quite literally the opposing one to St. Cuthbert. But he's thinking of a whole different one.
No, it was just... On our world, there's a massive cave system beneath the surface of the world.
Oh. That sounds very boring.
It's actually quite populated and very well and interesting, except for the whole fact that, you know, there was the purple dragon. All those drow.
It sounds very unsafe if your world
Plus,
is
we got all those
hollowed out.
refugees out of the bugbears.
Well, thankfully, most of the droughts populated to some of the worse cities, so still kind of there.
I will not get into too much details of my world since it's still in its own chaotic mess of wars and civil wars.
Either way, at least it wasn't phase spiders.
Those I
what?
can understand.
Phase spiders, they're got a special ability where they jump in and out of the ethereal plane.
No.
They can devour an entire town in about 3 days or 3 weeks.
Oh,
Imagine not being able to know what's coming out of you and you're sitting on a toilet. The next thing you know, you're having your internal organs sucked out through a straw because you've been liquefied alive.
now, if the cat that I knew did that, then I'd probably be shitting myself a lot more.
Right. So, our destination will most likely either be through the swamp or through the breach. We'll make a final decision once we get past Cicero.
The key thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to figure out a guide. If I recall correctly, she kind of looks over at Despero. There's a Vistani camp. CC Hunt. They are the ones who brought me to Paradigm. Yeah, there's a pretty permanent Vistani camp outside of Paragon. You may be able to find a guide there. I don't
Oh,
know.
fantastic. I've heard wonderful things about the Vistani.
Perhaps I can barter, dance.
Please don't.
I'm sure they would enjoy such festivities.
I wonder if that one chap is still there. They are very nomadic.
God damn it.
I suppose we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah.
Shall we prepare to get going?
Yeah, I should be ready to go. I mean, hold on. Got my knife shit back. There we go.
Deca will turn to Kay. I do hate to leave you here again, but it is multitudes of times safer here in Miss Callisti's care than it is wandering around a swamp with flesh-eating slimes.
I mean, I'm open for a little bit of adventure, but I saw a picture of it in a book. Really don't.
There's also the fact
You be careful because, some of those are going to be caustic enough to damage your joints.
Yes, I figured as much.
considering that we might be dealing with vampires, zealotry, corrupted abbess with the nuns, and a supernatural serial killer. Yeah, she's definitely a lot more safer here than what we're about to dive into.
Weird question. Margolius can't get to this island because I don't even think we ever asked that.
No, it has been asked, and no, he
It's been a
cannot.
while.
He can get here. He can't do anything here.
Oh, right, that's what it was.
As you notice, Syndra came on shore. If she tried
Oh,
anything
right.
against anyone here, it wouldn't be good.
Elliot pauses, he hears this. What about his underlings?
The same.
That's
They're under their domain. They can't do anything. As I said, survival was a thing I chose, and that meant becoming a part of the rules and playing a part.
I see.
It has its side effects.
Well, as a being of computation, there's something that hurts to say, but let's go break some rules. Come along, everyone.
Pretty sure I've been doing that for the past couple weeks. She just kind of cracks her knuckles and gets up.
Right. I suppose in order to deal with a corrupted system, we had to uproot it by the roots.
Finally. We get to start breaking the shit that should be broken. Just walks out the door with like her hands behind her back on her head.
We're just a chaotic trio, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, nod to Callisti, then as he's walking out, give Kay a hug probably for the first time.
Oh, hey, be careful.
You as well. If anything happens, she has a hidden door in the mirror.
God damn it.
Misty's like, it's you know what? She looks at you like as you guys leave. She looks at Kay. You do know what Mordekainen's mansion is, right? It's not a hidden door. Only Kay is just like, yeah, I know. Talk.
God bless this fucking party and campaign.
We are
So the
just...
first thing Stackham saw is that she literally just walked into the mirror. So he's like, hiding place, I see.
Elliot will basically just talk to Kyle and Deckham as they're heading to the docks again. It's just, we haven't really... this is odd for me to question this particular thing, but considering that we're a trio, as it is now, sadly, we have lost Aura. How should we identify ourselves to those who inquire about our names, or at least our group?
I'm stupid. Give me a minute. I'll think of something stupid.
I don't think you two would agree with War Unit 1100.
No.
We can probably use that with if we encounter more warforges, or those who would understand it better.
What about the war's maw? Something to that degree. Since we're gonna go a little bit, with some stuff.
Let's change that just a tad. What's Warrior's Maw?
Just kind of pull her around. I can drink to that at the very least.
Yes, drop the.
I was going to suggest the Mist Warriors, but you kind of got it better.
The Mist Warriors, Ma? Let's go all three.
No.
You don't like the MWM?
No, Ack.
I love the MWM, actually.
I don't. I
Too
don't
bad.
at all.
You can kiss my... But yeah, I guess we'll go with Warriors Ma sounds.
Yeah, there's always the chance. I mean, not to cut in, Senor. But he sticks a pose with the music. Desperados Angels.
I refuse to be named after someone
Yes.
No. I'm far from a fucking angel, and I'm not being related to that one.
Ah,
Considering we are in a desperate situation, but I do agree we're not quite angels.
Thank God.
I understand.
Damn, I
Perhaps
wanted
this
the
thing will
wings.
grow.
My fucking God.
Perhaps you will all figure this out more again.
We'll figure something else.
Needless to say, this is the first time I've gotten to walk in a while.
Savor.
You're not just gonna like collapse, right? Your legs aren't just gonna lock up, and we're gonna have to carry you.
As long as he quits popping his hips like that, he should be fine.
Why did he have a pelvic thrust function to begin with?
I don't know. I couldn't deprogram it.
I suspect he was built for entertainment or takes a better look
Yes,
at
he's an
Desperado.
entertainer, so just let him entertain. Also, just picture yourselves not being able to move your arms or legs for, I'm gonna guess, around 2 decades with the amount of corrosion that built up.
I had, and it actually made me feel.
Well, does technically not being to move them of your own free will count? That wasn't decades.
Yes.
Then I've got at least 5 years, or 5-6 years of that.
And I'm guessing the first thing you did was ran, right?
No, mostly cried first.
I did some of that, but it was in silence in my head.
He did that in the bath.
I am not afraid to show my emotions.
Nothing to do with. Never mind. I'm
It
not
was hard
into
to-
this right now.
Sentinel's rest while he was doing that.
Please
Thought
tell
that
me
was
the
very
boat's
tiresome.
nearby. I just want to get on the fucking boat. And like Kyle just like speed walking because
First off, it's a submarine.
It's both.
Warrior, what was it again called?
Or not but Warrior's Maw. Like maw, like a jawline, like, or a clapping down mouth.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Yeah. Okay, I just added some notes there.
God damn.
Deca leads down to the two of you. Does it work if I don't have a mouth?
Can you at least express some kind of joy by opening some weird unit somewhere?
No.
Good.
That's
then
fine.
yes.
We'll figure something out.
I can do colors.
Here, we'll paint like a warrior on your chest. You could be the warrior and we'll be the mom, considering our points at her kind of curved, like cat-like teeth and fucking Elliot.
Where?
Actually, I thought about this. This works way too well considering the party.
Yeah.
You're almost suggesting that we should call ourselves the Mist Fangs or something.
No, let's no.
And,
I have
and,
a point.
and Elliot looks very annoyed by that. And I guess we
I'm not stopping you.
I have nothing else. This is just like a Kyle's turn. Go.
Elliot would just add, right. Onto, I guess, our first true official quest as the Warrior's Maw then.
I guess so. I mean, we're only going to meet a swamp hag. What's the worst that could really happen?
Swamp witch, apparently. Not a hag.
Still gonna say hag by default, just because.
If she
Most
turns,
likely, one of us is going to get turned into some sort of animal.
she turns
Oh,
us.
darn.
If she turns us inside out, well, what happens happens. But first,
I
we're gonna.
heard this is what she did one time. She turned someone inside out.
But
and then
first,
brought
to the
them back.
island of
Ooh,
Cicero.
maybe she'll teach me that spell.
Let's hope she doesn't.
I believe, if I understood correctly from the witness, Senor, it was somewhere between
I'll be
a
right back.
knife in her bare hands and, yeah.
Well, maybe she could teach Kyle the technique then.
Or maybe she could. Wait. Never mind. We'll ask her. I'll ask her when I get there. I have a bad feeling.
Needless to say, since I owe you a lot, Senor. If you needed some help with your situation on the island, Cicero, I am there.
Actually, quite good. I don't believe I'll be allowed back on the island. I made a poor presentation of myself to one of the sisters.
Yeah, we will see how it goes. Perhaps I
Well,
can,
hopefully she doesn't know exactly how that spell works.
perhaps I shall persuade.
We would all be most grateful for that.
Well, as you guys draw near, about time. And that's where we're going to end the session. I'm Gothmogul. Thank you for joining us. And our new group, the Warriors Maw. And in 2 weeks, we will rejoin here to continue this story. I'm going to pass it on to next Monday's DM, Jeebus the Dingus.
All right. Well, after this, these two beautiful sessions that we've had of a lot of talking and getting some plotted and having a great time. On Monday, they're bashing their heads against dwarven walls, filled with drow and possessed goblinoids. Definitely not a session filled with combat, traps, and puzzles. Definitely not. I would never put them through that 2 times in a row, maybe even 3 to 5.
Lots. We're going to the pain gauntlet.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have got you that copy of Tomb of Annihilation.
Nobody did. This is my own creation.
That was the joke.
I know, but yes, I am throwing them through the longest dungeon I have literally ever created. I hope they will have fun throughout the entire thing.
You're welcome, buddy.
But after that, I would throw it over to the person who told me that long dungeons can be fun.
Oh, myself?
It's not me, because I can't make fucking dungeons.
I'm here. Hello everyone, my name's Mark. I play Elliot, and I'm also the DM for Into the Wildlands, and did a lot of the proto sort of horrible dungeons that go very long, with lots of traps and pain and all that stuff. Anyway, you can find my stuff on Miser Mark 2010 on both Twitch and YouTube, and you can also find my stuff that I'm collaborating with or part of in Jeebus the Dingus and Transpace Mariner on both YouTube and Twitch accounts respectively. Otherwise, I'll send over to Mariner, who will be our DM for next week Tuesday.
Hello, I am Transpace Mariner. Apparently the namer of all our parties. I don't know how that ended up fucking happening.
Hey, you and I both collabed on this one.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be a Mariner on Twitter. Space Birder on Twitch, and yeah, we'll be DMing next week to watch the party just go through the slums and just watch what happens. It'll be fun. After just having fun with a time tree, and then making it just poof from existence.
Hey, we set some shit on fire.
True. And then you... I'm so pissed that I rolled so shit for the guards, but anyway, I'll throw it back. Close this out.
It makes more sense than you think.
Oh, thank God
Yeah, I
I
know.
at home. He was about to get fucking blasted because Deli really needed to hurt somebody at that point.
Fangs would have helped.
Oh, you were dealing with the rogue.
That is true.
Well, the being inside the road, but anyway.
Alright, well, thank you again for joining us. We will catch you next time for this. As I sit here thinking about all the 2nd edition Gygaxian mega dungeons I used to run when I was young, and thinking of long dungeons.
Ooh, memories.
Anyway.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone. Safe evening.